So, for those of you watching the VODs, we did start the Klingon intro, and then the server went down. And so then we had to jump over into discussing the mechanics and systems of the game, which we spent 4 hours doing. What's funny is I think that was time well spent. I don't know about you all. I hope it was at least moderately entertaining. But it was at least interesting to me to really sit and discuss the many, many mechanisms of this game, for there are quite a few. And, yeah. But we also gave out a tremendous amount of gameplay positives and negatives. So much so that we're actually not up to date on the HUD. Let's make sure we get all these here. Okay. So a lot of this is the mechanisms, systems, etc. Now it's time to actually play the game again. Hopefully the server won't go down again. Finish up the Klingon stuff. So we're going to actually be doing our Klingon for a little bit now. We've got a decent little story arc for our Klingon. Mrs. DJT. Before I move on, I do want to say hi. Hi, Mike Carbono. Hi, Robostall. Hi, Rura. Hi, Pika. Yes, I did, Pika. And it is on the list. If you go to the website, you won't find it because I haven't updated it because I haven't had time. I barely had time to have lunch today.
Greetings! I am Farm, a fully certified banker and financial investor. What can I help you with today?
I'm looking for a Klingon named Chagrin.
Chagrin? Oh, right. He's one of the maintenance engineers. Make sure the exchange computers are up and running. Last I knew, he was running diagnostics in the warehouse, located in the back of the exchange.
That's all I need, you filthy, disgusting, degenerate... We're evil.
One more thing. As a first-time visitor to this exchange, you've qualified for a free sample of our fine merchandise. You won't find better quality anywhere on Kronos Warrior, and if you like it, feel free to come back. Like the Grand Nagus always says, the only thing better than a first-time customer is a repeat customer.
Fine. There better be no strings attached to this gift. Well, it's got to get funded first, Pika. But, you know, it is on the list. Will individual missions get positives or negatives? I'm almost assured several will. As for what did I have for lunch? Eggs. I didn't have time for anything else. Like I mentioned. Well, I almost didn't have eggs. I almost just went without. I was like, no, I should probably actually have some kind of food. Hey, look, it's the 2% thing. This is what we were talking about yesterday. The game has to spool up a new instance for certain things. More regularly common, stuff, that doesn't take very long. Rare stuff, it takes a minute. Oh no, it's not your fault, Evo. I just had a lot to do. Had to update the upcoming page. I had to exercise. I had to throw out the trash. I had to deal with the insurance. And, God, I don't even remember what else. I had several things to get done. I haven't even had time to drink my tea. What I've also not had time to do is say thank you to Robostall. Thank you, Robostall. I also had a short lunch, if you're paying attention, because I streamed 10 minutes into my lunch break, so that was the other delay. I will put that towards Klonoa. Yeah, well, it didn't take me long, which probably explains the doodle. What happened to you?
Nausicaan smugglers. They must have known I was all alone in here. Ambushed me. They're pirates, robbing the exchange. Someone must stop them. I'm too injured to...
I'll deal with the pirates. But when I'm finished, you and I need to have a talk. Alright, you did not. Should probably get some kind of battle music for this. Klingons are hard to do music for. That's a bit much. Nope. You know what? This is perfect. Welcome back, Zach Taft. But now, back to extremely creepy music. I have no idea what that song was. Shoot. I'm not sure what that was. I am not, Pika. I am dreading it with every fiber of my being.
You fight well. You've given me time to recover my strength. But now I must find Mazarog and put an end to that miserable Takek's treachery!
Who is Mazarog?
Well, tell them, Supreme. Who am I?
Mazarog! You're nothing but a smuggling Yintach!
No. Wrong as always. I'm the one who's going to kill you. A real warrior never lets his prey escape.
You dare to challenge a warrior of the Empire?
I should probably just flanking damage on this guy. I swear ground combat gets more interesting.
You had something to tell me.
Yeah, you're dumb and your face is dumb. I am the captain of the IKS Roman Cure. I am here to inform you that Lieutenant Duran, your Parmach, has entered Stovacor. She did die valiantly in battle.
I understand. She was a true warrior. Tell me, exactly how did she die?
She died challenging her treacherous captain. I killed the Patak.
It is good you were able to avenge her death, but she failed. I will not have Duran denied entrance to Stovacor because she died at the hands of a traitor. If you would have me, I would join your crew and fight by your side in her name. My talents as an engineer are wasted here in these warehouses. Let me battle worthy foes!
Okay.
You will be a captain worthy of my service.
I will, until I erase myself from existence.
We are being hailed by the prison warden. Something I should know about?
Now what? STO is free, correct.
That prisoner you dropped off escaped with the help of two accomplices.
Oh, of course he did.
One was a male Orion, and the other a Nausicaan. The Orion caused a commotion, filing a complaint regarding a prisoner transfer that never occurred, and then kept shouting until he managed to distract the entire room. Meanwhile, the Nausicaan made his way into the cell block and shorted out the force field controls. Cameras caught him equipping our Federation prisoner with a holo-emitter disguise. The three then escaped into the city in the aftermath.
This is not my problem. He was in your care, not mine.
This isn't the first time we've captured this prisoner. You're the only warrior who's managed to get him as far as Kronos. Your previous success has been noted, and so you are to track down this fugitive and return him once more. Get to it!
Finally, someone who knows my worth! Make sure the Chancellor hears about how I helped you.
Security cameras caught the trio heading north before
he
they
gives
were
a damn.
lost in the crowd. You are to search there for any witnesses that may lead us to their hiding location. I don't care what this prisoner knows. He's been more trouble than his value to intelligence. If he happens to die during capture, there will not be an inquiry.
I assumed as much.
I think I know where we can start looking for the criminals.
I'm listening.
The Chamber of Judgment is nearby, close to the Lake of Fire. An old judge I know likes to sit near the lake between trials. He might have seen something, and he's no friend to criminals. If he saw them, he will be happy to bring them to justice.
Yeah, I don't know if we could count a person who's an intelligence agent of an enemy we declared war on as a criminal. I feel like that's a little bit of a gray area. What I mean by that is, kapla!
The Lake of Fire is just outside of the exchange. With luck, the judge will be there.
Let us find this judge. Which I spit upon. Patooey, patooey, patooey.
Nuxnech, if you've come to try and curry my favor in the courtroom, you're wasting your time and risking my wrath.
We are looking for a trio of escaped prisoners. An Orion, a Nausicaan, and a human.
Curious. I did see such a trio recently, but thought little of it. On reflection, the human was garbed in a heavy cloak, perhaps to conceal his prison uniform.
Did you see which way they went?
Indeed. They headed north, then west. They may have sought one of the tailors there to acquire new clothes to disguise themselves.
Well, let's go get our tailor tutorial out of the way then. I mean, find the prisoners. What could gear...
Head west from the courtyard and down the stairs to the tailor.
I don't understand that question, Pika, so I'm afraid I have no answer for you. Trihexe says, is it dangerous to go into warp and atmosphere? No. Evo asks, what kind of tea am I having? Double chamomile. Venters asks, is the bat'leth a practical weapon? I've wielded a bat'leth before. It's too easy to circumvent. It's only really good against one other type of weapon, itself. It is rather stylized, and it's good for, let's call it ceremonial use, but I wouldn't use that in a fight. I'd rather have literally just a straight-up sword, like a classic broadsword, if I had to.
The stranger with the Orion and Nausicaan? Yes, they were just here. They made a quick purchase and then made their way to the bar to the west. Speaking of new clothes, I could outfit you and your crew in the latest in Klingon fashion for the right price. Come see me anytime.
No, thank you. Let me just walk through this random person here. Bump! Excuse me.
Ah, yes, them. They asked about another Orion, a fixer named Garat, then headed downstairs. Syndicate business, I'm guessing. Anyway, their business, not mine.
Very well. Yeah, I've never found... Well, I mean, I actually find tea soothing, but I find tea in general soothing. Personally, I tend to... I just like the flavor. I don't actually have a question from you, Zach Taft, so I'm going to go with no. I mean, I haven't done any sword fighting since, like, college days, but Yeah, it's a weapon that, again, is nice as ceremonial, decent against itself, useless, like literally a dagger, could bypass the defenses of a bat'leth effortlessly. But, anyways.
A stranger, an Orion, and a Nausicaan. Reminds me of a joke I heard once. Well, yeah, then again, perhaps this isn't the time for such things. You know, I did see such a group. They went into the back rooms, right over there, behind those doors. Always happy to help warriors of the Empire with anything they might need. Good hunting.
It's good to see a citizen of the First City who knows where their place is. That's actually the in-game dialogue. I'm not making that up. In case you think I'm joking, we really are just straight up playing the bad guys in the early Klingon stuff. I'm not sure why they leaned into that. Lord knows there are plenty of bad guys within the Klingon Empire in any era, especially this one with Jimpok inside, you know, the fish rotting head thing. But, the fact that we're such an evil asshole is a little bit strange. Yeah, I'm not even going to get into the fact that this place is heavily caste-based. And feudal. As in, it's a feudal system, not a futile system. Would I consider Spider-Man one of the greats? Yeah. I mean, Spider-Man's better than Captain America or Iron Man. The only reason that those two became worth a damn is because of the MCU. Gotta spool up that instance. So recently, I've discovered tea bags that don't have these, the addendums, the string, and I've fallen in love with them because these just get in the way. I hate these things. Go away. Bad writing, my kimono. Part of the problem here, the Klingons are actually extraordinarily well written, occasionally. And then the rest of the time, they are not. And it's the Vulcan problem. Those of you familiar with Star Trek know exactly what I'm talking about. But for those of you who don't, let's say you are, well, see, I don't collect them, though. They just get in the way. It's like I'm trying to take a drink and there's string in my mouth. If you are not super familiar with Star Trek, you've probably still heard of a Vulcan. So, what does Vulcan mean to you right now, off the top of your head? Real question. I'm not just joking. I got a point to make here. Yeah, Mechanicus fits the Klingons a little bit too well. So we've got uptight, knife ears, walking computer. Pretty typical stereotypes, and ones that are propagated in universe even. The Vulcans themselves actually, and this is not me making this up in the rewrite or whatever, this is actually in the canon, they propagate several, let's call them creative reinventions of who and what they are in order to try and make sure other people, you know, can't really deal with them in the proper manner. Of course I leave it in the cup while it's sitting there getting, you know, hot. So, Vulcans are actually really complex and precise creatures, which it's very hard to both write and act properly. Remember, a Vulcan has very strong, very intense emotions. Now, you might be like, what? If you're not familiar with that. But for those of you who know Star Trek, you're just shaking your head like, well, duh, lore. Vulcans have very powerful emotions. What they do is they do a constant mental regime to keep them contained and under control. So a lot of what they say... Oh, I love that mug. It's apparently Norwegian. A lot of what they say and do has to come from that mentality. They're not emotionless. Emotionless sounds boring. Emotionless sounds flat. These people are precise. There needs to be a specific manner in which they are speaking. Very carefully enunciated. Every word carefully chosen. Every dialogue carefully constructed. Everything that they say needs to come across in a certain manner. Because that's what they do in universe. They think about everything that they do. Because they have to. Otherwise they just go... So yeah, it's extremely, constantly under control. What does this have to do with Klingons? What do you think of when you think of Klingons? You see where I'm going with this. You think of Klingons, you think space Vikings, or idiots, or honor. But Klingons are, of course, much more complex and much more complicated than that, and it is difficult to both write and act a Klingon properly. Same exact problem. Klingons have a huge amount of nuance and presentation and style and politics and politics and politics to them. It's actually one of my favorite aspects of the Klingons is the massive amount of internecine politics they have going on. And of course, the concepts of what I call fake honor and real honor, which is a heavily enforced system, even at a cultural level, within these people. Or you could just write them to be an idiot. And that's exactly it, Warp Core. That's why there are so many Vulcans you can point to in various Star Trek shows that are, irritating or boring or robot-like. It's because they weren't written well or acted well. Same thing with how many Klingons there are that are stupid or terrible awful. Those are, once again, badly written and or badly acted. That being said, good Vulcans? Oh! Tuvok, Sarek, Spock, obviously, even though he's only half. And good Klingons. Martok, Worf, even Gowron is actually a really good, well-done Klingon. Some people might contest that, but no, Gowron's very Klingon. So, we get a mixed bag, as anything happens that's been around for 40, 50, 60, oh my god. It's been around for a while. As we get a mixed bag of stuff. Hey, JudoCast, what is up? I am dying horribly, and now I'm dead. Ugh. Oh wait, I can't reset. No, I'm not playing Outer Wilds anymore. Are Klingons closer to Sith? No, that's stupid. Are Vulcans close to Jedi? Nope, that's also stupid. The Vulcans aren't stupid. Anyways, the reason I bring all of this up is there are times when we will get well-written Klingons in this series, thank God. However, it is worth noting that two of the worst story arcs in this entire game are both Klingon-centric. And yet, Duras is a perfect example. That's a great way to say that. I'm going to repeat that out loud. Kira White Noise just said, Duras is a Romulan in a Klingon skin. Gowron is a Klingon. So, who are the bad guys in Star Trek? Doesn't work that way, thankfully. Every now and again, they have decided to go ahead and have what you're referring to as an acceptable target. The one we're about to go through, Mike Kamano. Except for those of you who never heard me use that terminology, an acceptable target is a very common fictional concept, and unfortunately also a real-life one. It's when there's something you could point to and say, that's the bad guys. You don't have to worry about them. You don't have to consider it. You don't have to think about it. You don't have to fret. You can murder, kill, torture, destroy. Doesn't matter. They're acceptable targets. Nazis, zombies, robots tend to be this kind of a thing. A lot of fictional settings tend to have at least one acceptable target. Darkspawn in Dragon Age, for example. Or the Legion in Warcraft, right? That's the acceptable target. Star Trek has periodically had acceptable targets, but if we're being honest, if we zoom out the camera a little bit, there is no such thing as an acceptable target in Star Trek. Not even the Borg. In fact, actually, a lot of work has been done over the years to really flesh out the Borg in all the horrible messed upness that they actually are. So, in answer to your question in full, DeQuack, there are no acceptable targets within Star Trek.
That is a suspiciously new console for an old building.
Let's go deal with it. Nothing to see. Oh my god! Traitors! Traitors! So, a species that's close to Jedi or Sith in this setting... Oh, jeez. So when I hear Jedi, I hear idiot, and when I hear Sith, I hear idiot. So species that are idiots, my first thought is, of course, the Pakleds. So I think we could compare the Pakleds to Jedi. I think that's a fair comparison. But being honest with myself, I would say that, it's all joking aside, the closest species to the Sith, as, in all of their permutations, bad, stupid, you know, ideological, whatever. The best pick there would probably be the Terran yeah, let's just go with the Terran Empire.
Looks like the spies have set incendiary devices to cover their tracks. We should disable these in case they are set to ignite later.
Well, let's do it then. So, the Terrans are very Sith. This is a shield generator that I actually mentioned this earlier. I usually have my engineers loaded out with all sorts of turrets and pet stuff. So, turrets, mortars, shield generators, and healing things. And that's my general approach for engineers, because engineers are overpowered as crap on the ground. By the way, if you play an engineer, your superpower for the ground is a freaking orbital laser. Anyways. Well, I wouldn't agree with that, Traxia. Although I guess the wormhole aliens are pretty evil, so maybe. Anyways. I should probably get him a weapon. What? Oh God, what are my buttons? Ah! Come on. There we go. Does he not have a weapon? He has a weapon. Why don't you use your weapon, dude? So the Terrans, there are very, very stupid Terrans. There are also Terrans who are smart evil, to put it simply. And that's why I say they're a good pick for the Sith, because there are exceptions, and there are Terrans who are decent, and then there are Terrans who are smart, and then there are Terrans who are morons.
Search for the human criminal. That room in the back looks like a good place to start.
It's one of the defaults, Mike Romano. It's, pretty sure it's that one right there, or... No, it's that one, sorry. Shield Generator Fabricator 1. It just came with the character.
You're too late. You may have defused the bombs, but your quarry is long gone.
It is too late for you, miserable Patak. Let's turn this down, because this is going to get too loud. Come on. Spying on the KDF within the first city itself. You are looking at a lifetime of pain and suffering. Tell me what happened to the men who broke you out of prison, and this won't get any worse for you. What do you think is this Koch, Kugan?
He's not talking. Probably trained to withstand torture. We're not going to get anywhere with this one.
Start a search. Uncover how the prisoner escaped.
KDF security is on their way. They can take this Bachtag to the infirmary.
So yeah, we actually do see several smart Terrans. But one of them's kind of a retcon, and most of them are in the most recent stuff. So most of the Terrans we'll see will be idiots. We'll talk about that when we get there. Had to wave as he left.
According to the logs, the last transport was to the shipyard in orbit above Kronos. If we don't hurry, our prisoner could easily secure passage out of the system. I recommend we go to the shipyard at once.
Let's go. Greetings from beautiful Ryza.
We need to make our way to the transporter pad to beam to the shipyard, Captain.
This is boss music. We don't need boss music. Okay. Oh, tell me about it, Mike Kamano. To be as honest as I can, the less they touch the Discovery stuff, the better. Not because I'm anti-Discovery, but because the Discovery arc in this game is the worst story arc in the entire game. It's technically 2 arcs, but really it's 1 arc, let's just be honest. Well, FTL's hard, Trihexia. I mean, obviously. Also hyper-specialization.
You interested in buying a slightly used ship?
I'm more interested if a human just passed through here that fits this description.
Oh yes, just minutes ago. I sold him a shuttle. He seemed in a rush to leave. Didn't think anything of it. I assume he's wanted by the KDF?
In a manner of speaking, yes. I need to track him down.
Lucky for you, I kept a copy of the transponder code of the shuttle he just bought. And I will give it to you at no charge. In fact, since you're going after such a dangerous fugitive, let me throw in this technical manual. The spec should help your tactical officer to be able to eke some better performance out of your ship. Just to show you which side I'm on. Qapla'! And glory to the Empire, right?
You are smarter than you look. You pathetic Okay, that's me making it up.
Captain, we found the transponder signal. Standing by to beam you aboard and begin pursuit.
Quick aside, I love the appearance of that ship. There's actually several Klingon ships I rather like in this game, which is a damn shame because I never fly one. But, again, if they offered that ship cosmetic thing I've talked about a few times, oh man, I would totally fly around looking like the Moog. The Moog just looks so cool. And I think the Bortesque is another one. I'm not sure I got the exact right, but... yeah, they look pretty big when you're on ground, as they should. In fact, actually, hang on. Give me a sec here. There's an enormous amount of ships here. Like, literally hundreds. So give me a second. Let's filter this out a little bit. Okay, so it's going to be a tier 6. I need something that's not Federation. Oh, was that it? Did I already pass it? That is cool looking, but that's not the one I was thinking of. Is that it? No, that's not quite it. It's one of the Katinga styles, but I'm not sure which one it is. I'm going to show this off, damn it. You're going to look at it and you're going to like it. We're off the rails now. Okay, you don't have to like it. No liking is required. The Devourer usually doesn't speak in public, so he usually has at least one person there, which is sometimes himself, talking for him to maintain that whole mystique. That's about right. Cool one, though. There's a couple ships that you can get. One or two. That's a good ship, but that's not it. Anything with Miracle Worker is probably going to be a good ship. Let's just be honest with ourselves. Seriously, Miracle Worker ships are just so good. By the way, anybody see those new ships they just announced? I'm actually tempted by that support vessel. The Sphere one. Probably not going to get it because that console doesn't work on other ships, but if it did, I would have probably already bought it. Pax is tempted by the one with the external torpedo. Because that one can be taken onto other ships, I think. And that's much better. It's not here. Oh, whatever. We'll probably see it at some point. Then I'll point it out and be like, look, it looks so cool. Anyways. There's no ship-to-ship combat. Don't be ridiculous. Now let's go fight some other ships in a ship. See if there's any here, if I could just...
I'm disappointed he was able to get off Kronos, but not surprised. He's a slippery one. Do what you need to do to bring him back. You have his warp trail, so I begin with that. There is work to do.
I'll equip some things really quick. Oh, we have terrible gear on. Just absolutely terrible gear. Look at this. Since we're going to be playing this character a little bit, we want to update it a little bit. Whoops, I didn't mean to do that. Just a little bit. That's an engineering. Yes. You'll notice this is actually still the tutorial mission, by the way. And soon the Ferengi will rule the galaxy. Don't make up.
Heart of Kronos to the frozen wastes of Rura Penthe. Klingons have built an empire that values strength, honor, and skill in combat. To be Klingon is to be a warrior. Fight well, live with honor, die with a blade in your hand. If you can do these things, you will live forever in the stories and songs of the Empire.
So here's our bird. It's a dinky little piece of crap. There's no subtitle. What do we need subtitles for? God, weird. Oh god, here's that slowness again. Empire. Alright, we'll talk about the Empire soon enough. So, Ferengi start. Alright, so I'm afraid I've got you in debt for 13,000 gold press bars of latinum. So, I'd be willing to let it go. This is actually a raider, specifically, Blue Hero. It is the smallest scale ship that is still considered a capital ship, and doesn't actually... So there's actually a scale ship below this, which we just generally call shuttles, but shuttles and fighters are equivalent. This is a dinky little thing, relatively speaking. Like, if I was standing on that bridge right there, you could physically see me just standing there, right? That's how small this thing is in lore. But that's okay, because raiders have other things that help make up for it. They are small, fast, agile, have a very high evasion rating, and most importantly of all, have the bonus damage when attacking someone in the flank. They also look cool. That's always nice. I like looking cool. Looking cool is neat. That would actually be... Wait, what? No! Kiara White Noise, no! We can't kill Rom. Rom's a national treasure. Actually, yeah, the Tantive 4 is not exactly a bad comparison for this dinky little thing. Although, more combat-oriented. Think a ship that's lost all of its features other than its ability to do damage, and you've kind of got a raider. Now, there's a class above a raider.
On the front lines of the Klingon Federation war, brave captains from both sides battle to defend their homes and gain advantages for their faction. Each death has meaning. Every victory can turn the tide. These are the conflicts that will determine the fate of the quadrant.
So I should probably mention, all that stuff was recorded, obviously, before, you know, Mr. Nimoy died. But also for way back in the day, when this game was still relatively new, and the current story arc was the fight between the Klingons and the Federation. So, some of that info is going to sound a little bit out of date, and they left it in because it's Leonard Nimoy. Top 5 tropes. I'll give you one Trihexian, only one. 10,000 years. Is there a new story I'm trying out? No, JudoCast. Nothing that we're going to cover today, tomorrow, or for the next week is new to me. So, let's see. That would be cool, Kira Witness. So, raiders are at the bottom. Immediately above raiders is escorts. Escorts are effectively raiders, but slightly bigger, slightly better, slightly more capable of doing something other than killing something in its stupid face. The Defiant is an escort. In fact, I believe historically the Defiant is the first ship that was classified as an escort. The term actually comes from canon Star Trek. So, lots of escorts. Escorts are... There's no such thing as a DPS class. It's just different types of ships that specialize in different things. Then you start to branch out a little bit more, because you have your cruisers, which is the generic stuff in the middle. But the cruisers branch out into science cruisers, into engineering cruisers, into tactical cruisers, and also what they call warships or warbirds, which also qualifies within the same medium-grade territory. All of those have something about them that varies. There's actually a surprising amount of complexity that goes into it, which determines which kind of consoles and weapon slots and all those other things we were talking about earlier today about the builds go into. For example, warships tend to be similar to other cruisers, except have like one more 4 weapon, or another tactical ship, or whatever. Tactical ship. Tactical slot. Tactical console slot. Excuse me. Then you start to go up from there, and you start to get into the heavy cruisers and the big old things. Yeah, they tend to have an experimental as well. Raiders often have experimentals also. Escorts don't. If you go up even further, you get to dreadnoughts. There's actually a lot of dreadnoughts in this game. Dreadnoughts are exactly what they sound like. They're big, and they can do a bunch of stuff. There's actually a class above Dreadnought, which is relatively recent. It only came out, I believe, within the last year. That is the Juggernaut. To my knowledge, there are only 3 Juggernauts in the entire game. The really, really ugly Emerald Chain one, the really, really ugly Vodwar one, and the really, really ugly Borg one. And those are the big ol'... they're Juggernauts. They're exactly what they sound like. They're big, sloggy, can take hits from thousands of directions and just sit there and laugh at you. They're Juggernauts. There's also Carriers, but Carriers stopped being a class a while ago. Instead, what happened nowadays is the carrier capacity, aka the ability to have a hangar slot for fighters, varies based on which specific class you are. So like some ships will lose a weapon slot for a hangar slot. Higher grade ships can have a weapon slot and a hangar slot. Some ships have specific things that come with them as part of their uniques that help the fighters, etc., etc. So nowadays, experimental weapons and hangar pets are best described as just another form of a weapon slot. What are the disadvantages of the Juggernauts? Good luck getting a hold of one. The Emerald Chain one comes from a lockbox. The Juggernaut comes from Lobi, I think? And, excuse me, the Borg Juggernaut comes from the Lobi. I don't even remember where you get the Vodwar thing. The Vodwar are, the Vodwar Juggernaut is, last I checked, apparently that's also Lobi. Last I checked is the actual best ship in the game. I could be wrong about that. But anytime I see someone running a 1,000,000 DPS run, they're running the Vodwar Juggernaut. And that thing is absolutely stupid at the highest ends of levels. So that's the disadvantage with the Juggernaut. Good luck getting one. And of course we gotta spool this up. Does it look nice? I think all 3 ships look ugly as sin, but that's just me. Admittedly, I haven't checked the actual top end of the builds. I stop caring after the 1,000,000 mark. Because there's actually a lot of ships that you can do a 1,000,000 DPS on nowadays.
Captain, the warp trail ends here. What are your orders?
Put out a wide band hail on all channels. I want him to know who he's dealing with.
Opening hailing frequencies. If he's out there, he'll hear it.
And soon he will know the folly of defying the Klingon Empire.
Captain, I recommend modifying the navigational beacons in this system to amplify our efforts in locating the prisoner.
I did, Pika, but I have no idea is the answer to your question. Probably Warp Core. I've never managed 1,000,000 DPS, probably because I don't have that kind of money lying around. So that's not happening.
Beacon modified. Nothing yet. We should modify another beacon.
Define really good, JudoCast, because there's several directions you could go with that.
Got it. Establishing a communication link now.
Like, come on. Yeah. Oh, for God's sakes. There we go. No! So, for example, most ships in this... I mean, you can turn a Malon frigate into something worth a damn. What it takes to make a ship good... We talked about this before the break, so I know you didn't see this. Go watch the last VOD, because I explain extensively about the builds, system in this game. But if you want to get a really, really good ship, the ship you have, it's only the very first step of making that ship do that. So if you want to get an actual million DPS ship, just off the top of my head, that's probably somewhere around $300 at a minimum. Because of all the low buy you're going to have to get for that in order to get the consoles and the ships for the consoles and the traits, as well as dropping an enormous amount of money on the really good DOFs in order to coincide with that, and the really good BOFs. I forget if it's all Romulan right now is the current meta, but you know, you do need a certain type of BOF and you need to stack it, so all your BOFs need to be whatever that is. Just an enormous amount of stuff that goes into that. The ship itself is probably going to set you back about $30, whatever ship you go with. But everything you need to make that ship ridiculous, that's going to be expensive, and that's why I haven't done that. I'm content with doing a few 100,000 DPS, if I'm firing on all cylinders. And that's good enough for me.
You? I am impressed. I thought Doran was the right choice for command, but apparently even I can be wrong. The KDF will do well with you in their ranks. You have the tenacity of a rabid dog.
Cut the flattery and cut your engines. You're going back to Kronos with me.
As much as I might deserve to rot in a Klingon jail cell and be interrogated to within an inch of my life on a daily basis, I have unfinished business. It's time I was going.
I'll follow you to Earth itself if that's what it takes.
I don't doubt that you would. However, I always have an escape plan. I've planted a tiny subroutine in all Starfleet computers. If any vessel arrives in the Boreth system, their sensors will pick up distress beacons from dozens of destroyed Starfleet starships. In addition, when we started this conversation, I sent out a few false maydays from these phantom vessels. Ships are already responding. You've proven yourself to be a skilled warrior already, so I'm sure you know that Kalis said it was acceptable to lose a battle to save an empire, or a ship. I suggest you leave before Starfleet arrives.
Really quick, thank you, Cord. I'm glad you at least got the pictures eventually. I know you're having some issues with that. It is good to see you again. I hope to see you tonight, for that matter. So, someone asks, I think it was Mike Romano, what's the point of the ridiculous DPS builds? The build itself is the point. And I agree with this. I'm into this. There's an enjoyability about sitting down and building the ship. About thinking, okay, if I mix this, put this here, but then I can use this ship, but that means I lose this slot. So maybe I do this over here, but I can do... And just putting it together. It's the same reason people enjoy making decks in Magic the Gathering, or character builds in Diablo 3, or Guild Wars 1, or whatever, right? Some people just make characters in Dungeons & Dragons because it's fun. So that's the point of trying to min-max the builds. That's the point itself. Because once you're doing a few dozen thousand DPS, you're fine for pretty much anything this game can throw at you. By the time you get to the range I'm at, and remember, I'm kind of low tier, relatively speaking, you're good. Anything past that is for the enjoyability of making the build itself.
Captain, we're being hailed by one of the Starfleet vessels.
This ought to be interesting. Put it on screen.
Klingon bird of prey, power down your weapons and shields, and prepare to be boarded.
That day will never come, Vulcan. Not as long as I draw breath.
Our sensors are detecting several Federation distress beacons in this area. This trap is obviously your handiwork. Surrender now, or we will be forced to open fire.
So much for the famous Vulcan intellect. Check your sensors again.
The beacons are as plain as... curious. They are no longer transmitting. Engineering, run a level 3 diagnostic on the sensors.
You've been deceived by one of your own, Vulcan.
I extend my apologies. We did not intend to violate Klingon space. We will be leaving now, if you will allow it.
Fascinating.
Rest assured that whomever tricked us here will be found and punished. On that, you have my word as a Starfleet officer.
And now we fight them after all that? We do. Oh my god. All that nonsense, and finally we have to fight them anyways. Jesus Christ. Okay, whatever. And then we... God, we're so stupid. Alright, whatever. So let's see here. Trihexia had a question. What do you think would happen if you shot a Genesis device at a Borg cube? They would have a fun new toy. Listen, it's fine. It's fine. Everything's cool.
Another Starfleet vessel has entered the system.
I sure hope they're not mad at me for...
Attention, Klingon ships. We are here on a rescue operation.
Oh my god. Do I have to kill you too? Jesus Christ. If that cocktail is any less than $40, Ross, so help you.
This peacefully, but we will defend ourselves if we must.
I wouldn't mind resolving this peacefully ever, but I'm playing a moron right now, so you know. Correct, Cubic Skull. A little out of date at this point, but the lore run still stands for most of the, lore. So while we're fighting these dumb battles and giving a negative to story for this whole story arc, DJT asks,
There's another contact on the scanners. How many ships did Starfleet have in our sector?
Do you really want to know the answer to that question? I suppose I should stop playing the Mechanicus music. Let's see, what's a better music for space battle? I don't actually have a good choice for that. Let's go with... It's fine. We don't need other KDF ships. You know what's funny is this would easily be well written if they actually bothered to write it at all. There's a bunch of Federation ships in Klingon space, and no Klingon ships willing to respond to us. Now hold on for a second. That makes perfect sense. All you have to assume is all the Klingon ships either presume that we're a trap, don't care about the house we're from, or are busy fighting each other. The Federation is here to try and clean up the mess that we're causing by fighting ourselves. Boom. And that would actually perfectly fit with Jimpok's reign.
Leave the system on your command.
Now, I'm not giving the game credit for that, because again, that's not in the game. But it would be like one tiny step to make this whole thing make more sense. And they're all dead, so we can change music now. Back to space music. I mean, I'm annoyed too, and I'm giving it the negative. Give it a second.
It is unfortunate that the prisoner has eluded your search. That said, you did uncover a Federation spy nest in the heart of First City. We've deciphered their infiltration techniques and are cracking down on their spy network within the Empire. One of my prison guards was impressed with your tenacity and asked to be reassigned to your crew. You would be wise to accept it.
As a quick aside, this Gorn that we're about to get is actually still part of my main party on my actual Klingon, my 65 Klingon.
There is work to do.
This guy, Thrak. He's pretty cool. I like him.
We have identified the Federation prisoner you've been chasing. His name is Franklin Drake. Some of our sources say he's a Starfleet intelligence agent, but there are hints that he's much more. From what I can tell, he's not part of the normal chain of command. Previously, we didn't have any images or genetic samples from him, which is why he was so hard to identify. Now, we'll be on him the second he shows his face again. We already have a lead for you to follow. Records indicate a Klingon shuttle entered space above the Rura Penthe penal colony. That system is restricted, and there was no traffic scheduled for today. You are authorized by the High Council to approach the system and determine if Drake is there. Bring him back alive, if you can.
Fine.
Work to do.
Damn it, it was way up there. I was gonna start warping there while he's talking, but I couldn't find the damn system. Whatever. Yeah, there are no 31 sections. There's only 30 sections in this game. What are you talking about? So, time to slow-mo our way over that. This is going to be a minute. Let's see, do we have the warp option? We do! Holy shkamoly! Thank God.
This is Warden Martok of the Rura Penthe Penal Colony. You do not have authorization to land. Turn back now. Any attempt to violate our security perimeter will be met with force.
Our authorization comes from Chancellor Jimpak himself. It is unwise to stand in the way of his representatives. Unless, of course, you'd like to become a resident of your own prison.
My apologies, Kalekanes. I am honored to meet you. What do representatives of the High Council seek at Rura Penthe?
We are here looking for a Federation fugitive.
There are no Federation corps on Rura Penthe. Are you aware enemies of the Empire should be killed, not fed and coddled like infants?
It appears the spy is as good at getting into prisons as he is at escaping them. Check your sensor logs, Warden. He is here, somewhere.
Our security logs are checked every quarter hour as per regulations. There have been no transfers in or out of the colony within the last day. Only 2 ships have entered the system today. Yours and a Klingon shuttle. The shuttle left the system hours ago. You are still here.
Your arrogance is tiresome, Warden. Produce your sensor logs at once.
Our logs clearly indicate the shuttle left the system hours ago. And there have been no transfers. All prisoners in this colony are either accounted for or dead. Your trail has gone cold.
Enough! We will beam down and examine your logs in person.
Ready to beam down on your command, Captain. There is a magnetic field covering the entire penal colony to prevent prisoners from escaping via transporter. We'll have to beam down to the outskirts of the magnetic field and walk to the entrance.
I've got a better idea. Down we go! Wow, this is really big for STL. Look at this thing. I mean, we're literally in an atmosphere-capable craft.
Where do you think you are going?
I have business with the Warden.
You may have crossed the magnetic shield, but your visit is unannounced, and you will follow protocol. No one simply wanders around this prison. I will escort you to the Warden.
Lead on, guard.
You will follow me. Warden, the visitors are here.
I can see them, Rogas!
I have eyes directly in front of my face that are staring at you right now. There we go.
Your presence here is unnecessary. The only Federation citizens on Rura Penthe are frozen into the ice. But don't let me dissuade you from your manhunt.
Order the guards to search.
My guards will stay where they are. If there was a breach, it would have tripped the alarms. Our security system is quite advanced. This is a prison, after all. But please, examine the security system for yourself. If you refuse to accept the word of the prison's warden, that is.
Drake is here. We will find him.
You dare to question the honor of a warrior of the House of Torg? You may be representatives of Jempak, but you'll taste my blade if you insult me again. Go, see for yourselves. You'll only find the Patak dumped here to rot.
Your incompetence will speak for itself.
Follow me to the general holding area.
Nice place. A little broken down. Whoops. Not like me. I feel like this deserves a cold playlist, actually.
Take one of the jackal mastiffs with you to sniff out treachery.
And what do they have the ability to smell treachery, or are you just speaking facetiously? Hang on. No. Let's do this playlist. Grant access to prison area.
Interrogate the prisoners, Captain. One of them may have spotted the fugitive.
Nice place. That's me being facetious. This place sucks. Man. STO is on console, last I checked. Although I don't know which ones or how, admittedly. It's also a little bit behind the PC version in terms of updates, but it's there. Where is the human?
Bother someone else.
Where is the human? Swear to me.
I'm an accountant, not a miner. I have not seen a human here.
Ugh. Have you seen your balance here?
Snitches get stitches.
Really?
Is this an inspection?
By the way, just continuing the trend of how...
Someone is following you, Captain. Turn around.
The trend of exactly how evil and horrible the Klingons are. So we get a nice insight into Rura Penthe, which is not a fun place to be. Do you mind doing me like a spine sketch so I can see what you mean, Evo?
None of these prisoners will help you. They can sense danger far better than you can. And they know the risks of getting involved in a fight that's not theirs.
How would you know this?
Because I'm not a Batak like the Warden and his cousin. Have you asked yourself, why would a human come to Rura Penthe?
No, I'm a moron.
The human is here to extract a prisoner. There are no other alternatives. If he was coming to kill someone, then he's a koch.
Language.
All he needed to do was wait. Everyone sent to this hole dies. Most are dead within a year.
You seem awfully well informed for a prisoner.
Are you questioning my honor?
Yes.
If you think you're safe because you hold a weapon, you're mistaken. The only thing standing between you and a cold grave is my patience.
Bold words for a prisoner.
Someday I'll teach you a lesson for testing my resolve. The human is here, but it is a complicated situation. You must do exactly as I say. We are surrounded by enemies, and you will need my help to survive.
Why should I trust a criminal?
The only crime I've committed was thinking there could be peace between the great houses. And all you need to know is that I am a Klingon warrior with the information you need. Follow me, and I will take you to the one the prisoners call the Worm.
If you're paying attention, by the way, this mission's already off to a better start, because you're seeing several examples of both fake honor and real honor on display here.
The Worm is over by the mine entrance.
We've even seen some of the Klingons being written properly. The whole challenge-response thing that they do.
There you are. I was wondering if I'd lost you.
You're a fool to come here.
Don't try to play coy with us. You have the subterfuge skills of a wounded tar. Did you think no one here would notice a new prisoner? Or that no one would notice when you tampered with the air exchangers?
What are you after, Drake?
I see you found a new friend. Look, if I had the time to explain, I would. But I'm on a tight schedule, and you took your time getting here. If you want to know what's really going on, you'll have to ask your new friend. I need to be going.
What?
Follow him! He's running for the surface!
So, one of those interesting little things in the Klingon Empire, in this specific era, and this is properly written, is they have, I don't want to call it a paradox, but let's just call it a disagreement on how things should operate. The system is inherently designed to make people constantly question those above them. Not because, you know, they encourage... Let me walk this back a little bit. Some people think that the Klingons are all about, you know, you kill the person above you, you get promoted, because we're evil. That's actually not true. The whole point is you have to have a really good reason to kill the person above you. If you don't, if you kill the person above you without a good reason, without good cause, without proving why they're in that position, well, then you are screwed. You have just lost your position pretty much automatically, and will assuredly be killed in turn. Now, there's a caveat here, which we'll get to that in just a minute. But the point of this system is to try and make it so that the superiors have to constantly earn that position. They have to be challenged, which again is very culturally how the Klingons work, and they have to respond to that challenge properly. Here's the catch. If you're paying attention, and there's already been a couple of hints of this, even in the Klingon arc so far, you are also supposed to obey orders from the High Council, and most notably the Chancellor, without question. Now, it's hard... this probably sounds like a duh, because, you know, this is just normal human stuff. But the problem here is, this is actually going against the fundamental culture of the Klingon people. You are not supposed to just follow questions without orders in almost any circumstance, with just culturally, just the way that their society functions. That's true at a parental level, never mind in an organization like the Klingon Empire. I mention this because this is one of the few things that's being done deliberately, and it showcases the kind of rule that Jimpock has been perpetuating ever since he's been sitting on the top seat. Hang on, there's another layer to this. Because if you're paying attention, you know that I've talked about Star Trek way too much, and I've also talked about the very concept of fake honor and real honor. Now, there's a lot of different words you could use for those terminology, but what it boils down to is fake honor is exactly what it sounds like. I have all these wonderful, venerable things and all these sites, and I will talk a good talk, but I'm not actually that good, right? Real honor, absolutely, Blade Traval. Real honor is more along the lines of, I'm actually going to do the best that I can here. I'm going to actually follow through on these things and try to be an honorable person, right? What's the significance of that to this whole political schemamigan? Well, if you were paying attention, the way I described having a good reason to kill your superior sounded a whole lot like a casus belli, aka a legal excuse in order to go to war with someone. So with the fake honor system, if you can invent a reason to go after the person above you, then you can. And you can get away with it. This is exactly what Jimpock did when he murdered Martok, which we'll learn a little bit more about the details of that later. So, not only is the system broken to begin with, but it's also got a layer of, well, let's call it lack of oversight for how the system works. So yeah, the Klingon Empire is friggity doomed. Honestly, what this story arc should be, and I mean this sincerely, is about the Klingon Empire collapsing in on itself. However, for some reason they decided to do that about the Romulans instead of the Klingons. In fairness, the Romulan story arc is actually legit, so that's whatever, but I still think they could have written the story about the Klingon Empire just completely imploding, and that would have been way better than what we eventually get. I mean, I'd be down, Flag Hand. No joke. Come on. The only downside is they'd never do that because they literally just finished a Klingon arc. I mean, yeah, exactly, Ross. The Klingon Empire has been screwed up for a long time. Honestly, if we're being completely blunt about this, the reason the Klingon Empire is still around at all in TNG's era is because the Federation was not interested in conquering or destroying them. If the Federation was like most other political entities, most other polities, they would have just stomped the Klingon Empire, and that would have been the end of it.
Hurry! We have to stop him! The worm has slithered to the surface. We need to stop him before he can reach the edge of the magnetic shield. I promise that I'll explain everything once we track him down.
Let's go. Greetings from beautiful Rura, Penthe.
The human is trying to cross the ice. We need to hurry before he gets outside the magnetic shield.
He has a shuttle.
In that case, we don't have any time to waste. It will be difficult to track his movements in this flurry.
Let's use the Jackal to track him. How would the Dominion War have gone without the Klingons? That's an interesting question. Now, I'm going to say this as coldly as I possibly can. The greatest benefit the Klingon Empire had to the Dominion War was being fodder. I don't mean they didn't do damage. Actually, quite the contrary. I mean, they were people who could take the losses because the Klingon Empire just has numbers. And they could do some damage in return.
Keep a lookout for more.
Yeah, exactly, Vigilant. They brought the numbers the Federation needed.
Survive on the surface.
The Federation had basically every other advantage. Resources, technology, research, motivation, coordination, tactics. The Klingons brought numbers. Now that's the zoomed out cold calculus perspective, but it's still true.
Kemta, you said you would explain why you were thrown into Rura Penthe.
I am a diplomat. My peaceful words were called treason.
How can there be peace? We are at war!
You're an idiot.
You've clearly never read the works of Chancellor Gorkon.
Can I just say, like, one of the best chancellors we ever had, by the way, was Gorkon. The other one, in case you're wondering, Martok. Yeah, I was about to ask, which mission do you know, Doctor Who?
Now, let me ask you a question. How can we win a war if we can't stop fighting one another?
Honor must be upheld.
That's not an answer. Before Martok...
Still, killing one another for honor blinds us to greater threats.
Listen, that sounds like treason talk to me. Ahem. Before Martok was Gowron, one of the more interesting Klingon characters we've ever had, in my opinion. Not the most, just one of the. Do I think Worf would have been a good Chancellor? No. Worf has his own character flaws, and they blind him to certain things. And he's not a good ruler or leader, to be perfectly blunt. Worf is a good tactician.
There he is!
And a good squad leader kind of person, right? Worf is the perfect kind of person to run a group or even a ship, be a captain. And I do think Worf would make an excellent captain. Admiral? No. Actual Chancellor? No way in hell. Martok, by contrast, knows how to look past the tactical level. Martok can be a strategian. But what's interesting about Martok is he also can command the loyalty of his immediate troops. He is a tactician, and he's a strategist. Martok's also very Klingon in a good way, and a pragmatist on top of that. So, Martok is pretty much the ideal Klingon, and more to the point, would have been a perfect Chancellor. In fact, by all accounts, he did a great job as Chancellor until he was murdered by some dude. And I'm just going to call it that, because Jimpok is, let's be honest with ourselves, some dude. And that's the problem with this entire system. Remember what I mentioned earlier? All anybody needed to do was come up with a fake reason to go after Martok, kill him, and that would be the end of that. That's the inherent problem with the system. One of three, actually, excuse me, because I already mentioned two other ones. So, hi, Drake.
Impressive. Your determination is commendable.
You can't escape.
There's more at stake here than dealing with a lone human on a mission of mercy. In fact, our intelligence says you have very little time left to act.
What are you talking about?
Our friend here discovered that one of the great houses is plotting against the Empire. He's correct, but his curiosity cost him. Now you and Kemtar, will both have a chance for glory.
Catch that.
Kemtar, your father still has friends in the Federation. They believe he's in great danger. I recommend a trip to the Vor system. There you'll find out just how big of a mess you're in, and find the proof that Worf will want.
Kemtar, how do you know this human?
I don't. He and I have never met. But as I told you, the story is complicated. What you need to know is that he speaks the truth. There is a plot against the Empire, and it is not the Federation's doing. Our true enemies are closer than we realize. If we want to protect our people, we must go to the Vor system and see what is there.
Why should I trust either of you?
I don't care if you trust me. Kemtar, tell your father that obligations have been met. Only you can decide how you'll deal with the greater threat.
I'm sorry, what is this greater threat?
The only threat you should be worried about is me.
Rogaz? You followed me?
You're a miserable Karut. Not only have you broken penal colony protocol, but you've meddled in the affairs of House Torg. I don't care if Kemtar is innocent. We were paid a great deal of latinum to keep this piece of Baktak locked up. He's not leaving here, and neither are you.
That's my cue to exit. Good luck.
Now, I don't mean to praise this game over much, but did you notice the extensive efforts that Section 31 was willing to go through, just as a personal favor to Worf?
If Rogaz could find us, we can expect more guards soon.
Yeah, it's a nice little touch.
We must have a ship in orbit. We should beam up as soon as possible and discuss what has happened.
Roman Kier, do you read?
We read you, Captain. What are your orders?
Beam us up.
We can't get a lock on your position, Captain. You must still be within range of the magnetic field.
That's not what I wanted to hear.
We will bring the ship down to the surface to pick you up, Captain.
Maybe I should have done that to begin with.
If we head for higher ground, it will be easier for your ship to locate us.
B'Elanna's interesting because B'Elanna doesn't want to be a Klingon. And she doesn't think like a Klingon.
Look up ahead. The Warden and the guards are approaching.
Instead, she's more saddled with being a Klingon. But yeah, I like how Section 31 continues to be good. And I mean that. I like that. I've always liked that. I've always said that Section 31 is not evil. They're just in an unpleasant universe. is how I would phrase that.
You dishonorable dog! When the High Council hears what Jempok's representatives have done here today, they will order your immediate execution!
How much were you paid to hold an innocent man?
Enough to keep us warm long after you're dead. We get paid whether Kemtar lives or dies. So before I kill you, I'll offer you the coward's choice of surrender.
You know, I do think you're missing something.
What am I forgetting, Tosha?
I came in a starship.
A fitting end to a band of dishonorable fools. I trust you're ready to leave this freezing, miserable place, Captain. In many ways, I think Rura Penthe is worse than Traitor itself.
Drake said we should go to the Vor system. What would we possibly find there? Whatever is there, it is a threat to the Klingon Empire. We must find evidence to show the Council.
Yeah, you're supposed to be in the bird here. In fact, playing normally, there's no way to be in anything other than the bird. I'm very curious what happens if you have, for example, the Jem'Hadar Dread Carrier at this point.
Transporter room is standing by, Captain. We're ready to bring you aboard at your command.
Oh, it's still the bird? Okay. That's almost a shame. Almost.
Your report on Warden Kratak and the prison riot was disturbing. I have transferred many prisoners to Rura Penthe, and this is the first I've heard of corruption.
Maybe you should do your own job better.
As you know, the Empire does not tolerate fraud or dishonesty. I accept your resolution to the matter, but I am displeased that you did not apprehend Drake. The fact you freed Kimtar also requires scrutiny. If Kimtar were not Ambassador Worf's son, I would demand that you return him to First City at once. However, if you believe there's evidence of further corruption, you have my authorization to pursue this matter discreetly.
So before we hit accept on finishing in this quest, do you see this? This is the Hawkpeng torpedo launcher, Mark II. It's actually a pretty good early torpedo. You notice it does 10,000 bonus damage to the Doomsday Machine. This is as good a time as any to talk about something. So, a lot of quests and events and TFOs have been shuffled around or remixed or repositioned or whatever throughout the course of this game. In fact, one of the things I had the hardest time figuring out was where the hell the Ambassador quest was. And it's actually way down here in right at the beginning, right there, in Yesterday's War. So they just kind of shove it all around, right? However, some quests are just gone. Straight up deleted and never coming back. There's an entire Klingon arc that I'm pretty sure I showcased during the lore run, which is no longer here. It involved dealing with a rogue Klingon who was corrupt and arguably evil, and his efforts to try and capture and utilize the Doomsday Machine from the episode of the same, and it had to do with fixing the Klingon retrovirus in the past to make sure that the Klingons were cured of the I forget what they called it, but the genetic engineering thing they did that made them all smooth skin in order so that they could be back to their ridged selves. So that whole arc has been chopped up and put all over the place. Now, everyone in chat's like, that's already in. You're not paying attention to me. That quest arc used to be, I think it's like 10 episodes total, and now it's like 3. A huge number of those have been just completely ejected from the game, and it was all part of that same overall arc. So that is what we in the business refer to as the suck. But I mentioned that Because that is why we're getting a torpedo that does bonus damage to the Doomsday Machine now, as opposed to anywhere where it makes sense.
Congratulations, Lieutenant.
I'm going to equip that because it is a better torpedo than what I
During
have.
my time as ambassador, I uncovered evidence that one of the great houses has been corrupted by a foreign influence and is plotting against the Empire. I was thrown into Penthe as punishment for digging too close to the truth. The fugitive Drake suggested that we travel to the Vor system. We hope to find evidence that will prove there is an internal threat to the Empire.
Oh, Jesus, Flag End. Do I even want to know? So let's look at this picture. Oh my god, it's the most hideous, horrific, nightmarish, disgusting, terrible thing I've ever seen in my entire life. Is that what you expect, Evo? I'm just curious. That looks a lot like a dinosaur. But I get it. Spinal curvature. So you want to kill me. But other than killing me, which everybody wants for some reason. I don't know why everyone wants to kill me. God, what did I ever do? Yes. Listen, we don't need to worry about the Doomsday device. It's fine. It's fine. Hold on. What's the mission I literally just did? Manhunt. If you're going to do that, I think the legs need to be longer at each segment, so it's overall taller. I agree with that, Space Cadet. They've explained so much other stuff away, right? Let's explain where the Doomsday devices came from. They explained where the Solonite and the Bluegills came from, for God's sakes. Anyways. But if you make the three segments, each one of them a bit longer, so the overall body is a bit taller, I think that'll work better if you're going to go ahead and elongate the spine like that. And by elongate, I mean bend, because I can use words. I made the tail pretty short. I'm thinking, there's a nub that comes right out from the rear, and then there's just, the almost bulbous, spiked kind of thing going on. But that's how I picture it in my head, so I'll let you do whatever. Yeah, go ahead, Flag End. I know, right, Cashel? Are we here? Did we make it? Ah! I think, we made it to the... That's a big star. Look at that thing. Jesus. Let's go around this thing. Let's hang out here for a second. Whoops. That's not invalid, but that's exactly the answer I was expecting, Flag End. Because, I mean, that's what I was telling you earlier. From a purely business and financial perspective, Star Trek Online is just profitable enough to keep going, not to be better. And that's exactly what that person is saying right there. We could, but that would take money and effort, and, well, we could just spend that on new content instead. So that's what they do. I mean, I know. The ideal would be walking in and saying, hey, here's a crap ton of money. Go hire some people whose only job it is to fix your game. You can keep your current developers making new stuff, but their job is to fix your frickin' game. Bagonk! But anyways. Beautiful run.
Captain, we've entered the Vor system. There's a starbase in orbit dead ahead. Huh. It's one of ours, but the record's listed as a research facility operated by Uridian scientists.
Oh, I hate Uridians. Well, that's unusual.
The Uridians are not known for their scientific prowess, but the research station is listed as a protected asset. According to your ship's computer, the Uridians have a trade agreement with a human scientist named Amar Singh. He is working with someone in the Empire on a genetic research project. It's unclear what Drake expected us to find here.
We will investigate. Well, yeah, no, it is a gamble, Space Cadet. I will say this, I can think of 2 other MMOs that have gone way out of their way to make the barrier to entry lower, and have profited from doing so. But yeah, that was another one, Mike Kamano. The Cardassian arc kind of got chunked a little bit. The 2800's still there, but even that got chopped down. There's actually a list of all the quests and missions that have been removed from the game. It's not a small list.
This is Research Facility Logner Beta 3. I am Plardos Yarden, commander of the station. With whom am I speaking?
I am Lieutenant DJT of the IKS Roman Cure.
We weren't informed there would be visitors today. How may we serve the Empire?
We are here to inspect the station.
Commander Plardos, you will provide this ship's computer access to all recent station communication logs. You will also transmit a manifest of shipments and supply delivery receipts for the last month.
We expect full cooperation.
Well, this is unexpected. You do realize that we have an agreement with your thing. Our research is highly classified. You do have some sort of official order granting permission to view these records?
Of course, I'll send it over immediately.
Message sent.
Why are you attacking us? Please, we are not your enemy.
Send over the information requested.
You're completely mad. This is a top security installation. You don't have authorization to access our records. We're filing a formal complaint.
You're hiding something.
Of course we're hiding something. We're conducting classified research. That's why you are not authorized to access station records. You do understand the concept of top secret, don't you?
Top secret? Yeah, I think I've heard of that before. But instead of actually acting, like a jackass, I'm just gonna be like, you dare question my authority.
This is preposterous. We refuse to hand over top secret information without proper authorization. We will defend ourselves, if necessary.
You stink of guilt. Only an innocent person isn't afraid of whatever that stupid quote is. That's actually extremely wrong and stupid. God, the thing has a long cooldown.
The station commander sent a distress signal. A ship is responding. Captain, Romulan warbird on sensors. Captain, the Romulans are hailing us.
That's a Mokai, which should be way above our weight class. But of course, we're in gameplay land, so...
We received a distress call from this station. We are here to provide assistance.
Your assistance is no longer needed.
Station Commander Plardos sounded distressed. He mentioned a disagreement with a Klingon vessel. It would be dishonorable of us not to investigate.
This is an internal matter of the Empire.
We appreciate the delicate nature of the situation. Would you mind if we spoke with the station? Perhaps we could resolve any misunderstanding.
Be our guest.
I find this very suspicious. Why would Romulans respond to a distress call here?
You're stupid.
The Romulans hailed the station on an open frequency, and then immediately switched to an encrypted channel.
Yeah, by the way, I love the Mokai.
The Romulan ship hasn't raised shields. What are they up to?
Alert me if you notice anything.
I don't need to remind you that we're in Klingon territory. The fact that these Romulans are here at all could be the clue we need.
Drake said we'll find evidence, not clues.
Captain, the station has transported several crates of goods to the Romulans.
There's our evidence. Hail the Romulans.
Commander Plardos has explained the situation. It sounds as if there's been a miscommunication.
Enough. Transfer the contraband you just retrieved to us.
The foolish bravado of the Klingon Empire. Attacking your own station and then accusing us of wrongdoing. I should have expected something like this. Very well. We'll communicate in terms you can understand.
Boring conversation anyways. Battle stations! I was happy to be right behind you. Not that I was ready for this or anything. I'm more maneuverable than you, buddy. You're not getting me off your tail.
More Romulan ships dropping out of warp.
I'll get away from that really quickly.
Interesting. One of the Romulans is firing on the other. The other Romulan ship could belong to those rebels we've been hearing about.
This is Commander Telek of the Romulan Republic. We are here to cooperate with the Klingon Empire.
Yeah, sure, we can take on a Derridax in a bird. God, this game. But yes, so you're correct, Loke. As a further addendum, so Romulan ships were the... You know what? Remind me to talk about the Romulans when we play a Romulan, but all I need to know right now is that the Romulan ships in the modern era are powered by singularities, which explode just the same as any other warp core, but have some other effects to them. Because it's a beautiful, beautiful ship, Blue Hero. Seriously, the Derridax is actually one of my favorite ships in this entire franchise, visually. No, there's an explosion afterwards, my Kamano, as you just saw.
The Romulan Republic is thankful for your assistance. We had tracked the Tal Shiar to this system, but we would have been outmatched without your aid.
You fought well. For a Romulan, because I'm incredibly racist, in addition to being a moron. See, Randiva.
The Romulan Republic faces many challenges, but conflict with the Klingon Empire should not be one of them. As a gesture of good faith, I'll share with you information that you might find to be of value.
Oh, and if you're wondering what's going on with the Klingon Empire, excuse me, the Romulan Republic, we'll get there.
We believe Tal Shiar agents are collaborating with operatives in the Klingon Empire to steal weaponry and technology. We have uncovered large supplies of Klingon weapons on the planet Nimbus 3 that we believe are being stockpiled there by agents of the Empress. The stolen goods are being transferred through several facilities in the local sector, including this science station.
I see. Do you have any proof of this?
The shipping manifests on the supply crates and the weapons themselves. By tracking the flow of goods, we've learned that there are agents in the Klingon Empire transferring stolen supplies to the Tal Shiar. Those supplies are being stockpiled on Nimbus 3. If you will help track down the source of those weapons, we will share our data with you.
Very well. Send the data, but we make no promises because we're a dick to someone who's actively trying to help us.
Transferring the data now. We expect the Klingon Empire to track down the source of these stolen goods and punish those responsible before more weapons fall into the wrong hands. If we discover any further information, we will notify the Empire's ambassador on Mol Rihan.
Very well. Give me that koch, Thardos.
Please listen to me. We were only following protocol. We must ensure that our research doesn't fall into the wrong hands.
Why are you trading in stolen goods?
We didn't know the shipments we were transferring were stolen. I was told that the crates were medical supplies needed on the war front. We didn't ask questions. Please, show mercy. We were only doing what we were ordered to do.
Then do as you're ordered to and send me the data I want.
Due to present circumstances, we will forego normal security authorization and provide the files you have requested. We live to serve the Empire.
Transfer the files before I lose my patience and have you horribly murdered because I'm a Sith.
We've received the data that Kemtar requested, Captain. It will take some time to analyze these files and track the source of the shipments. In the meantime, we are prepared to leave the system on your command.
Well, let's go. Wait, we're not going to warp through the... Oh, God! Oh, God! And now we're in Ryza.
Your officers have analyzed the shipping logs from the research facility. Their findings confirm what the Romulan Republic officer told us. Someone has been routing technology and weapons to the Tal Shiar, and they are going to great lengths to cover their tracks.
Do you believe a great house is involved?
An operation of this magnitude would require the resources of one of the houses, but the shipments are being routed in such a way to conceal their point of origin. Our evidence is circumstantial. It was my eagerness to point fingers without proof that landed me in Penthe in the first place. We must exercise patience and wait for our prey to reveal themselves.
Drake mentioned your father?
My father is Ambassador Worf. He has many friends and many enemies. I tried to convince him that one of the houses was moving in the shadows against us. He either didn't believe me or didn't care. Either way, he made his decision when he refused to act after I was sent to Penthe. His pride is a weakness our enemy will try to exploit.
Yeah, so I hope you thought about that. Worf knew his son was sent to Penthe, and everything that implies. I was just like, yeah, okay.
You can try, but we must be prepared if he doesn't. We should at least warn him of the danger, even if he refuses to see the knife at his throat.
Don't worry, we'll be there when they strike. Go talk to Worfy boy. I like Worf as a character, but he is criminally underused. And I do stress underused in this game. Like, he might as well not even be there for half of the story arcs in this game. That ship is named the IKS Strawberry Fields. Yeah, no kidding, Makimano. Which is weird, because Dorn has mentioned many times he's available for stuff, so like, what the hell?
Perhaps. First, tell me who you are.
I am Lieutenant DJT of the IKS Roman Cure.
Greetings. How may I assist you?
We need to speak privately.
That is an odd request. We stand in the courtyard of the Great Hall, and honor has no need of secrecy. If you cannot speak your mind in this place, then I have no desire to hear what you have to say.
Very well. I'm here with your son, Kimtar.
That is not my son's name. If Kimtar wishes to talk, tell him to come and speak to me. I will not communicate through intermediaries.
He said you are both in great danger.
He is the only one in danger, unless you have been foolish enough to listen to his tales. But you have already made that mistake. If you have spoken to him, then you have been to Rura Penthe.
A great house is plotting your death. Yawn. It's plotting your death.
I am Gintok to the House of Martok. Lady Sorella has declared vengeance on the House of Jimpak. It would not surprise me if all the great houses wish me dead. Tell my son that I am capable of defending myself.
The Romulans are involved.
Romulans? That does not make sense. Jimpak's position towards the Federation and the Tal Shiar is very clear. And in this, he has my house's full support. It would be foolish for any house to make such a connection. However, I would not be surprised to hear you mention the House of Duras.
We don't know if Duras is involved.
And that is exactly the sort of accusation that landed my son in a penal colony. Tell Kimtar that unless he has proof, he should stay silent. If he is a fugitive from Rura Penthe, he will only make his situation worse. I do not want to know any more about what you two are plotting.
I will tell him.
Has Worf agreed to speak to us?
He said your name is not Kimtar.
What name I use is not important. Did you tell him what we've learned?
He didn't seem concerned as I stand immediately next to him.
Did you tell him the Romulans are involved?
He mentioned House Duras?
Given their history, I've considered the possibility that the House of Duras might be involved. Is he at least willing to review our evidence?
He wants nothing to do with our investigation.
Yaicha! He is a stubborn old man and he is going to get himself killed.
We should at least warn House Martok.
Agreed. If the Jinn talk to House Martok will not listen, we will take our concerns to the house itself. Martok's son Drex is off-world. I will contact Lady Sorella and arrange a meeting.
Don't be discouraged.
These events are very disturbing. They paint a picture of a large conspiracy against prominent houses of the Empire. I will work with my contacts to see what else I can learn. And I will notify you when I have enough leads to further our investigation.
87, Space Cadet.
Congratulations, Lieutenant.
Sorella, Lady of the House of Martok, has requested that you meet her at the House Estate in the Ketha Lowlands. She did not explain why she wanted to see you, but I expect that she has some tasks she would like completed. The House of Martok has lost much prestige since I took the Chancellor's seat. But they still have many allies among the KDF, and I am loath to reject Sorella's request without a good reason. Gaining the favor of the House of Martok could serve you well. But remember, they have many enemies. I harbor no ill toward Sorella, but do not get caught up in her vengeance against me. It would not be in your best interest.
I cannot put in words how much I want to snap your neck right now.
Serve the Empire well. Kapla!
The estate of House Martok. It has been too long. After Gowron stripped my house of its titles and lands, this place became my home. I will defend it and House Martok to my final breath. Come, Lady Sorella waits for us ahead. Believe me when I say it is Unwise to keep her waiting.
Oh, well, okay. Well, let's switch playlist here.
Welcome. I will skip the usual pleasantries. We have serious matters to discuss. The House of Martok has many enemies. Some of them seek to curry favor with Gempok, or the House of Duras, by striking at us. Until now, most of these attacks have been little more than a nuisance.
Well, yeah, I mean, what the hell are they gonna do? Oh, sorry, that was redundant.
But now we know that an enemy may be plotting to assassinate Worf, and my grandson, Maven, may also be a target.
Hold up. This is not the song I thought it was. Sorry. I'm just gonna go back to Mechanicus.
The filthy Baktag willing to carry out such dishonorable attacks must be stopped. And so, I ask you to find these assassins and eliminate them.
Done.
Any threat to House Martok will be dealt with, my lady. On that, you have my word as a warrior. Where is Maven now?
He is on his way to the Batleth tournament on Forcus 3 with your father. Worf assured me that he would handle security matters during the trip, but that was before you reported your findings to me.
We should go to Forcus 3 as well.
Before you go, I have another concern. Our local farmers reported seeing a Romulan here recently. Given Kemtar's suspicions of a house collaborating with the Tal Shiar, it seems to be an odd coincidence. We need to know what the Romulan was doing here before you leave for the tournament.
We will investigate at once. Come, my minions.
A Romulan? Here? Once I would have considered that impossible. But we live in strange times. Maybe they have come to their senses and joined with the Empire against the Federation. I haven't seen this Romulan myself, but one of the others might have. You have my leave to speak with the workers. One of them might have seen your pointy-eared interloper about.
Well, let's go see what they have to say.
Of what interest is a Klingon farm to a Romulan?
Are you stupid?
The only thing I've paid attention to of late has been the lack of rain. But you're a warrior, not a farmer. You wouldn't be interested in that. Sorry I couldn't help you.
Oh, Klingons are warriors. Evil.
The Togs have been busy tearing up my roots. But other than that, I haven't seen anything unusual.
More evilness.
I remember seeing the Romulan. He said he was a surveyor hired to architect a new irrigation system. He set up equipment on the hill over there, but I have not seen him lately. It would not surprise me if he is up to no good. You can never trust a Romulan.
That's speciest. See you around, Yada.
This surveyor may be more than he seems. The idea of a Romulan moving alone, freely on estate grounds? I do not like where this is going. Let's follow his steps. Doing so could lead to insight on the Romulan's actions.
Well, let's go then. And murder him because he's a Romulan. Which, I mean, if we're honest, that's all the evidence we really need. We were talking about that yesterday.
I see the equipment there. It is definitely Romulan tech. That is definitely Romulan gear, but it is not surveying equipment.
Well, what is it then?
It is a short-range EM transmitter. Not something a surveyor would use, Romulan or otherwise. I have a bad feeling about this. Disable it at once!
Well, yeah. I'm just beat on it with the butt of my phaser here.
We still have a suspicious Romulan on the loose, however.
Excuse me, butt of my disruptor.
There is a shipping and receiving area nearby.
close to a landing pad. I suggest speaking with the workers there. They may have seen our mysterious surveyor recently.
By the way, I like how the implication is just kind of in the background here that House Martok is actually a big farming house. Produce, agriculture, breadbasket of the Empire. Sounds very Martok, doesn't it?
Yes, I remember this man. It's not every day you see a Romulan in the Ketha lowlands. He didn't say he was a surveyor, though. He told me that he was a part of a diplomatic delegation studying our agriculture. Martok would have never let a Romulan set foot on our world. That's why I don't think much of Jimpak. He's too soft. The oddest thing I remember, other than him being a Romulan, was that he personally scheduled the delivery of goods to the farm.
What?
Against our security procedures. Lady Sorella insists on authorizing all deliveries to the manor. However, his codes were valid, and he had Lady Sorella's signature, so I did as he asked. His delivery arrived today. It is the large package we moved to the grain storage shed near the house of Martok's manor. Tnep would know what was ordered. He handles most of Lady Sorella's business transactions.
Alright. Mechanicus, Mag.
And now our surveyor is a diplomat. A Tal Shiar spy seems more likely. I processed that delivery. It was an order for the House of Martok. They needed explosives for digging out a new irrigation system. The order was placed by Lady Sorella with her signature and authorization codes. She must need the new irrigation channel badly. Normally, Sorella delays such tasks until the winter, when the farm hands aren't busy with planting and harvesting.
More Romulan treachery. Ugh. Jimpak is too soft.
This spy is clever, placing the explosives near the House of Martok's fertilizer stores. If he detonates them, the results will be devastating. I believe that device we found earlier was intended to be a trigger relay. Taking it out will slow the Romulan down, but it may not be enough to foil his plan. We should focus our search near the fertilizer shed. The spy will need a good vantage point to monitor the area before he triggers the detonation. Come, the hunt continues. Use your scanner to search for Romulan life signs.
Time to put an end to all Romulan treachery once and for all.
The signal is getting weaker.
So if you want some really bad audio spam, just hit this a bunch.
The signal is getting stronger. The signal is getting weaker.
Don't worry, I'm not going to do that. But you can. It's just, you hate yourself. Oh my god, it's Tal Shiar! Yes, I have a shotgun. It's actually a disruptor shotgun, so, you know, whatever. Yeah, who could have predicted this? Oh gosh. Okay, there we go. Let's I keep sliding more into my chair here.
The signal is getting stronger. There, by the ship. What is that Romulan doing?
The House of Martok will crumble, and with it, the rest of the Klingon Empire. You cannot stop what has begun.
So again, well, this whole story arc is kind of over the top and kind of on the nose. The implication here, as I already mentioned, is that House Martok is responsible for a lot of the foodstuff and production and coordination of the Empire. And with its loss, well, we'd have some problems keeping the houses in order and fed, and you get the idea. This is an infrastructure hit, which actually makes a lot of sense. Which is funny, because the Tal Shiar are morons, but we'll get to that later.
Treacherous for shock! It's an ambush!
Oh, no. And yeah, the Tal Shiar are idiots. Just the dumbest. Like, Terrans look at the Tal Shiar like, dudes, what are you doing?
They're finished! Deal with that bomb before it kills us all!
Do I have to? Alright, let me shoot it.
This ship, it is the Rotaran, the flagship of House Martok. That Romulan wanted to blow up more than fertilizer.
Really? God, you're stupid.
It would have been a fatal blow, both to the house and its honor. Huicha! One thing is clear. Whoever is behind this plot has no honor. Not even a Fekiri would join forces with the Tal Shiar. It is madness!
Indeed. What's our next move? Because apparently I'm just responding to you now. Alexander.
We must continue the hunt, my friend. The Romulan still draws breath, and as long as he lives, our troubles will multiply. A piece of Baktok probably beamed up to a cloaked vessel in orbit. Let us return to your ship and see if we can find it.
Listen, the Fakir aren't known for their sanity, alright? I like how we just left Alexander behind there. Did you catch that? Just morons.
Ever since Gempok recognized the government on New Romulus, the number of Romulan ships in orbit over Kronos has increased. Most of them have legitimate reasons for being here. As a diplomat, I realize that harassing such a ship could lead to an incident. That's trouble we do not need.
Agreed.
Very well. I am willing to continue, as long as you understand that discovering the vessel that holds our quarry will be difficult.
Difficult, not impossible. Scan for cloaked ships.
There's a lot of warp and impulse traffic in the area. It's too much for the scanners to handle, especially if we're dealing with a cloaked ship. That's assuming the ship is still in the system. They may have gone to warp as soon as the spy stepped off the transporter pad.
Hold on, look for Singularity Warp Core transmissions.
Ah, your intuition served us well, my friend. Scanners are detecting trace singularity distortions from the nearby asteroids. I believe a cloaked Romulan warbird recently entered warp there. If we get a closer scan, I will be able to plot a course based on the warp trail signature.
Well then, I suppose there's only one thing to do. First, engage the cloak.
I'm being pursued by annoying Klingon insects. What are they called? Ah, yes. Glob flies.
That's amusing, since if you're paying attention, he didn't actually detect me. He just had a, you know, a little scripted event to notice that I'm here.
As much as I would love to dance, I have a pressing appointment elsewhere, so let's change partners.
Yeah, he just knew we were there. Didn't know where or when, any specifics. He was just like, you know what? I just feel like gloating for a minute. Oh god, the number of times we beat Hakiv and then he runs is like, I think it's like 8 separate times. Oh, I am better than you. Okay, running away now. I have defeated you. Ah! God, Hakiv. I'm curious how Hakiv is actually going to rate, like, legitimately. Because he is just such a moron. And it'd be pretty easy for him to be annoying. His master plan is, I'm better than Sela, I swear. Which, honestly, if that's your bar that you're trying to surpass, maybe rethink your life strategies.
Sensors are clear. Let's see if we can follow the warp trail of the Romulan leader. Scanning. Ah, there it is. Warp trail detected. Sensor analysis indicates that the Romulan is headed for the Forcus system.
Ah, after Mavan and your father.
Agreed. I believe Lady Sorella's suspicions were correct. The Romulans mean to kill Maven and anyone that gets in their way, like my father. Both Maven and my father are formidable warriors, but even they can be overwhelmed by numbers and treachery. I must go to Forcus to warn them. Will you join me, my friend?
Not yet. Let's get chill for a minute. Have a drink. Okay, now let's go.
Scanning. Agreed. 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 I believe Lady Sorella's suspicions were correct. The Romulans mean to kill Maven and anyone that gets...
Shut up, Alexander. You can legally adopt people, but yeah, it would, Space Cadet, with a couple of exceptions. Agreed. Greetings from Ryza. That was me, DJT. I was just being silly. Wait until I tell you about scratching my back. It's still one of the funniest bugs I had in the whole game.
We have arrived in the Forcus system. The Warbird's warp trail ends here. She's out there, somewhere. Initiating sensor sweep now.
Alright, well, let's contact your father and warn him.
I've hailed him several times, but he has not answered. Either he is unable to respond, or unwilling to respond. Let us hope he is engaged with the Batleth tournament, and watching over Maven. We will need to beam down to the surface to know for certain, however.
We located the Warbird?
Yes. She is dropping into orbit over Forcus 3, and hailing us. It appears Commander Tarson would like a word.
Put the piece of Batog on screen.
You are becoming an annoyance. You have made yourself a target by defending the House of Martok. By following me here, you've given me no choice but to destroy you.
Are you... like... That's the second time you've been like, mwahaha, and you can't actually tell where I am. Like... Are you paying any kind of attention? I mean, at least you're in a Mokai. Just, you know, should actually be, honestly, be a boss at this point, but whatever.
He cloaked. Scan for energy traces so we can follow him.
Oh, he's fast. Look at that. He's already way over here. Oh, Hakiv. We'll get there. We'll get there. I'm looking forward to it. The Romulan arc is cheesy as hell, but I still enjoy it. And not just because it's the first time I really enjoyed this game. Which it is, by the way. Remember, I've been playing this game since it came out. It kind of sucked originally. And then the Romulan arc came out, and I was like, oh, it's actually good now. Huh. I mean, it's not perfect, but it was actually good.
These Klingons are helping the Romulan! They are Makwi!
I mean, they're fine. They're fine. They're getting paid a lot. You don't understand. Yeah, I know, the idea... Lore! Rogue Klingons are helping the Tal Shiar. Oh, no! Anyway. It's okay, Mr. Ed. I don't expect you to be here for one of the greatest games ever made. In Star Trek.
Cloaked again! We must find him! Quickly!
God, this ship is so slow. Yeah, welcome to SDO boss design. There's only, let's be honest, there's only one boss in this entire game.
You cannot stop what is already set in motion. The Klingon Empire will fall.
And that boss fight is the Borg frickin' Queen. And she's mean as hell, even today. If you don't understand the amusement of that, the TFOs trace back to way back in the day. Like, it was one of the first little things they actually added. Good mean or bad mean? That's an interesting question. I suppose we'll decide when we get there, because we'll be fighting both of those boss battles. They're both against the Queen, but, you know, whatever. As I mentioned briefly earlier, the Borg are still mean to this very day. No. The Romulan Empire hasn't fallen. The Tal Shiar will carry them to glory and power and all that other fun stuff. Oh, you actually turned away from me. Are you stupid? Don't answer that. You're Tal Shiar.
Tarson may have beamed himself and his agents to the surface. He also has Klingon traitors aiding his cause. We have more work to do, my friend. Let us beam down and attempt to contact Maven and my father before things get worse.
Let's go. Greetings from beautiful... Dang it. Do I think the Kalis clone could have fixed the Empire if given real power? No. Like, I don't... I don't know what else to add to that, really. It's early game, DJT. I'm actually using tactics you probably can't even tell in order to try and speed this up and, you know, outclass my enemies, despite the fact that I'm in a dinky ship with 3 weapons and 2 abilities.
Any Romulans here will be well hidden, but their Klingon allies will be able to move freely. Even so, someone might have noticed some unusual behavior. Let's start in the bar. Tongues loosened by blood wine may reveal clues we'd otherwise miss.
Very well. I could use a drink myself. Don't worry, I'll use the Gem Hunter Dreadnought for the Federation ship, because honestly, it makes more sense than what actually happens.
Did you see Jim Puck when he was young and still fighting in the tournaments? Oh, now that was something to behold. He was masterful and fluent, not like the young tards here these days. I'm surprised that some of them can hold on to their batlets for the entire match. Ah!
Now, ignoring his hyperbole, this is something to keep in mind. Jim Puck is not a good leader, commander, strategist, tactician, or manager. But he's a good fighter. And you probably see the problem with that. That's how he beat Martok. Well, one of the ways he beat Martok.
Wonderful! Another stout warrior eager to...
Hey, I can't even hear you under the music. What?
My glory days in battle. Pull up a chair and I'll allow you the honor of buying me a bloodline.
I mean, I could, Space Cadet. I'd say Martok could, but he had his shot. He flubbed it.
Have you seen the fighter from the House of Duras? He looks like a real contender for champion standing. I'll bet you a barrel of blood wine that he wins without taking a single wound.
If General Chang fought the Master Corps, both in their prime fighting condition, who do you think would take champion standing?
Yes, even in universe, we can't get away from the versus questions. Also, Chang.
And what do you think of the new rule restricting botnet links to between 110 and 120 centimeters?
And for some reason, the rest of that isn't voiced. I personally won't use anything other than the traditional 116 centimeter length, but I can understand the desire for customization of one's weapon.
Do you really think a Romulan would be foolish enough to beam down to an arena filled with hundreds of Klingon warriors? Besides, ever since that one tournament where the champion of the House of Mokai used a transporter to steal his opponent's bat'leth in the middle of a fight, there are transport inhibitors in place. The only places they can operate are the transport pads and cargo storage.
The enemy is devious, moving in disguise. Tactics worthy of House Mokai, but not a true Klingon warrior. If they're posing as cargo haulers, they will have access to the locker rooms where competitors store their gear. They need only wait there for Maven between rounds and strike when he least expects it.
Let's go.
Hearing the chanting and sounds of batleths reminds me of the first time I celebrated the Côte Baval festival. That was the first time I remember understanding what it means to be a Klingon warrior.
Shut up, Alexander. I should have different music playing for you. Hang on. I actually have a good song for this. Give me a sec. Gotta find it.
Nuchnech, speak quickly. I have a tournament to run, and little time for fools.
We require locker room access. Infiltrators may be present.
Access is limited to maintenance staff and competitors. If you have a security concern, take it up with security.
Are you not in charge here?
I am, and you will explain your impudence before I show you why I am in charge. The hard way.
This is an urgent matter, Administrator.
There is another way. Is it still possible to enter the tournament?
I am ready to participate immediately.
Not as a competitor, but we do have an opening for an exhibition match. One of the fighters put enough blood wine in his gut to drop the Gone King and had to withdraw. If you wish to take his place, I will allow it.
I am eager for combat and also a moron. Why is this not... There we go.
Then combat you shall have. No firearms are allowed. You must use a melee weapon. A bat'leth is preferred, but this is an exhibition, so you may use an unconventional melee weapon if you wish. Even one of those Vulcan lurpas they wave at each other in mating disputes. Ha!
Whatever. Oh, I wish I had the axe on me. Of course I don't.
And now, an exhibition match. This concludes the exhibition. Our next match will begin shortly.
I like how I disintegrated him with my bat'leth.
Ha! You fight well. Work on your form, and you might qualify for next year's tournament. You may use the locker rooms to clean up. Go. Should you have the courage, I will allow you the honor of buying me a blood wine later. Perhaps we will see if you drink as well as you fight.
Perhaps we shall. Wah!
I said that I would tell you the story of how I came to be called Kemtar.
Now?
Kemtar was the name of a warrior who saved my father from assassins on Maranga 4. I used the name Kemtar to honor his memory, to remind me of what it means to be Klingon.
What's this? A globfly buzzes into these hallowed chambers? This is a place for competitors, insect! Begone!
I just did an exhibition bow. Make way.
The insect buzzes still. I think it is time I stifled it permanently. Last chance, globfly. Leave on your own 2 feet or on the barge to Grethor. Your choice.
Bold words. Come and back them up. And I will murder your face off with a disruptor shotgun.
More traitors in league with Tarson. They must be preparing to strike.
I mean, yeah, again, more treacherous Klingons. Oh my gosh.
You are looking for Maven? He is in another room, further down the hallway.
You having fun there? Like, okay, whatever. You,
Maven has fallen to treachery. The House of Martok will have its revenge.
I think my favorite part.
I need friends.
My favorite part is the fact he's just standing there while I shoot him in the back. No, go watch Star Trek first, Mr. Red. Then play it. Hey, Worf. You suck at your job, Worf. Oh, hang on. Wrong song. Hey, Worf.
What is the meaning of this, Alexander? Maven was sent here to replace his equipment, and yet I find you here, surrounded by Romulans with the grandson of Martok dead at your feet. Explain yourself.
Are you serious? Okay, Worf, let me lay this out for you, okay? I'm going to explain this all very simply and very clearly, okay? Romulans. That's it. That's the explanation.
Lady Sorella feared that you alone would not be able to keep her grandson safe. We followed these Romulans here, and would have stopped them had these halls not been filled with Klingon traitors. And where were you when these assassins struck?
Alright, stop. We need to focus on the Romulans.
I see you have been listening to my son's conspiracy theories again. He talks of peace and uniting the houses, yet here he is, with a blade in his hand, looking for glory. I told you I wanted nothing to do with this.
Worf. Smack!
While you were here at the tournament, assassins moved against Lady Sorella at her own estate. If we hadn't tracked down this agent and disarmed his explosive, she would be dead as well. At every step, we have encountered Klingons hiding in the shadows, with blades at our backs.
So, hold up for a sec. Why is Worf being this stupid? So here's the thing, and this really is what it boils down to. He is this stupid because they need him to be antagonistic here. I don't know why. I don't think it's a good work for him. Here's the problem. There is a way to make this make sense, but it would take more time and effort and polish, because Worf does have... He actually has a lot of character flaws. But one of his biggest ones is his son. Worf has always had a big blind spot with regards to his son. He has never been a good father, and frankly, every time he attempts to be a good father, he has been a moron. This is true in TNG and in Deep Space Nine. So, this could have come across as him just having that blind spot, right? For a parallel, think Malfurion and Illidan. Malfurion is, by and large, intelligent, reasonable, and pragmatic. And then Illidan gets involved, and his intellect just sort of flies out the window. That makes sense. There are people like that. There are people who have those kind of blind spots. The issue here is this isn't written well enough to really convey that kind of thing, even if that's what they were going for, which I'm not sure about. Instead, this just comes across as Worf being an obstinate bureaucrat. Straight up. He is the obstinate bureaucrat of this situation. He is the antagonist of this story as we go after the villains of this story. So he is designed to be in the way, and it sucks. Moving on.
I have not seen this evidence, but I believe what you say.
Oh, now you do.
We will get to the bottom of this. That does not mean we can act rashly. If there were Klingons aiding these agents, then we are still in danger.
If only we could identify this rival house, then they'll be forced to act in the open where we can fight them head on.
Agreed. A great house conspiring with the Tal Shiar to assassinate other Klingons. And it is not just a theory. How high does the corruption go?
We'll uncover this threat together.
Sorella and the rest of the House of Martok will mourn for her grandson. But I must also see that security remains a priority. To start, I am sending you a recruit from our house, the warrior Belera. She's been personally trained by me and will aid your crew as we fight against the House of Torg.
So she's terrible at everything? I mean, no offense, Worf, but one of the things you're most famous for is getting your ass kicked. Like, seriously. They make fun of it in universe. I really want to type up how nonsense that whole thing is.
House Tor. My former jailers were from that house. At least, before we sent them to Grethel on the frozen tundra of Rura Penthe. You have fought with me this far, my friend. Will you see this through to the end? Help me serve House Torg, a dish colder than the gulag they used to command.
Yeah, sure, I guess. I mean, I don't know. Do I have to? Yeah, it's literally called Orf Effect. It's like...
The idea that one of the great houses is conspiring with Romulans to attack House Martok is troublesome. Come to the Kethalolans. Worf and I would be honored if you would participate in Maven's Hecate. Once we have put our family matters to rest, you may work with Worf and Kemtar to determine our plan of attack.
Sure.
Serve the Empire well.
Oh my god, that's a trip. Alright, I need a brief AFK. So I'm just going to take this opportunity to do that. Here, let me get you some AFK music as we hurtle across space at the speed of slime. We're not even there yet. Yeah, this is why this is a negative. By which I mean, this probably could be more than one negative, if not for this button. If it wasn't for this button, this would be easily more than one negative, because traveling around sector space at low level just sucks. Alright. Okay. Let's do this.
Maven was the heir of House Martok. We will be diminished without him. He died as a warrior born.
No, he didn't.
And soon he will join his honored ancestors in the halls of Stovokor.
I hate to disagree with you, but by your own rules of how Stovokor works, no, he won't. He died to treachery. Being shot in the back. Like, that's not how that works.
You honor my house by returning the body of Maven to his home. My grandson was very traditional. In his honor, we shall perform an akvo. Together, we will follow our ancient traditions by watching over Maven until his spirit is ready for the journey to Stovokor.
Listen, I hate to... Okay, whatever.
I would be honored if you joined us in the akvo.
Sure, whatever makes you feel better. He's going straight to Grethor. I'm sorry. Because they're stupid, Flag Ant.
Before the night, you heard the call of Stovokor. The warriors singing. Cry out your name. Welcome home. Welcome home. Let not your heart be filled with fear. The spirit soars on honor's wings. Your heart is singing. You found your way. Welcome home. Welcome home. Thank you for participating in the Akvo. It is important that we remember our traditions.
Why?
Together, we have kept away the predators that would take Maven's body before his spirit was ready to leave for Stovokor. Now he may seek the fellowship of Martok and continue the warrior's journey.
Right. Worf, you are a worthy Gintok to the House of Martok.
Pardon my interruption, Gintok. We have an urgent security matter. House of Torg warriors was seen gathering in the first city. We have word that they are planning an assault, and will be here any moment.
They dare attack during a Sukovol? They have no honor.
Send an alert to everyone on the estate. I will see to Lady Sorella. Prepare your men. We will not let these dogs catch us by surprise.
Like how shocked we sound there. I can't believe they would attack us? Oh no.
Here they come. Show them no mercy.
I can't believe they would attack us during a funeral.
Defend,
This
Lady
is definitely the most shocking thing these people have done.
House Torg will end you, Martok fool!
Honestly, Stovokor is pretty stupid on several levels.
The Akvo, and for that, you will die.
We'll talk more about it later.
The ferry for Grethor leaves soon, and you shall be on it, you worthless Garut.
Okay, fair, DJT, but you know what I meant.
Torg sent his lackeys to attack us during a sacred ritual. He is truly a dishonorable Takeg, and I will have my vengeance. Worf, Kemtar, honored allies of House Martok, hear me now. Lead our warriors against the House of Torg and bring an end to their treachery once and for all.
After everything you have done on behalf of the House of Martok, I ask that you see this campaign to its conclusion. The House of Torg must not be allowed to survive this day. The House of Torg's main base is located in the Gorath system. I will prepare our fleet, and we will attack while we have the advantage.
Hang on. Is that honorable?
Take Alexander with you, and he will ensure your ship is recognized as an ally by our fleet. Torg will soon discover that the House of Martok is stronger than he was led to believe. Make contact with the fleet when you enter the Gorath system to receive further instructions.
Okay. Actually, I do remember that Flag Ant. And I'm still amused by it. To this very day. What the heck is the Flax? Or is that Farscape? In which case, never mind. Greetings from... You know, I should probably mention, I have a nuclear submarine and Google Fiber. It is effectively not possible, not feasible, I should say, for me to have better load times than this. It is possible.
We've arrived in the Gorath system. Our transponder signal has been linked to the Martok fleet commander, and we're receiving battle instructions. The IKS Mooj will follow us. Our task is to destroy hard assets that Torg could use to mount a counterattack.
To battle! The nuclear submarine is what I call my computer. It is a very high-end machine, designed for streaming, rendering, and 3D graphics, which, yeah. And obviously I'm going to take over the world, because of course I am. Have you taken a look around at the world lately? My god. Even an idiot like me can do a better job than this. See, I'm not a submarine person unless it's a land sub. If you can go into the sand, then yeah, okay, sure. Not, well, no interest. Oh, it does FML word? I didn't actually know that. That's funny. So you see that bug right there? That's a bug with how they do the, I forget what it's called, but it's the way that they layer a texture on top of the existing texture to show things like battle damage or custom shields. I'll show that off a little bit later because there's ways to easily replicate it. Like, you can effortlessly replicate it. I should probably get some music going here. Boss music. Different boss music. You know what? Honestly, that just fits. Oh, no, I haven't, Mr. Ed. I don't know if I said that out loud or not. I have had an extraordinarily small amount of time and energy. I've been very strongly considering going ahead and pulling the trigger. No, Sluggeretta. On going ahead and doing the 8-hour shift instead of the 10-hour shifts earlier than I planned. The fatigue issues are starting to get real. Like, one of the things I keep saying is I don't have time, which is certainly true. But one of the other things that keeps being an issue is I don't have energy. At the end of my night, I have nothing left in the tank. You know what I mean? I have no interest in it whatsoever, Sluggeretta. There's nothing there for me, there's no content, there's nothing enjoyable. I have no spare time, preferring video games when I'm not doing the show. Like, no across the board. Every checklist says no, Sluggeretta. 100% of it. What really irritates me is I was hoping to get to the point of being caught back up with the queue before I pulled back on streaming. But honestly, that's months out. Remember, we have to get through Tor, in addition to STO, in addition to several very long games, including like 3 RPGs in a row, and then like 3 week-long games in a row. And I'm just staring at like several months ahead of me and just going, ugh! I'm tripping at the finish line because I don't think I can make it. The first thing he'd do is he's immediately kill himself, Sluggeretta. Just right, immediately, done, gone, out. No, the exact point in time that the queue will be caught up is when we are, whatever's right before Mass Effect. I forget what it is. But once we have reached Mass Effect, we are caught up on the queue. And we will be shifting over to the new system. And we were going to be shifting over to the new stream schedule, too. This is also appropriate music for this battle.
Target it before it can escape.
Tour is going to be a long one, too. So... part of the problem here is what you're asking me is a weird question, DJT. So DJT had a great question. This is a perfect time to talk about it. DJT said, and I quote, "Can I suggest a negative for the rabbit holiness of the game's build systems? It seems like you can get lost if you don't know what you're doing. To me, at least." That's a good damn question. Admittedly, I've never really felt particularly lost in this, but I have to admit, a lot of that is because I enjoy build-type gameplays in general, and more to the point, I have no problem looking up Reddit threads and the like. But I should probably also mention that information outside the game is not considered beneficial for work in the game. If you have to go to guildwarsbuilds.com, or whatever the hell that stupid site is called, in order to figure out how to make a build in Guild Wars, that's not a really good system. No, I have not, Sluggeretta. So, in other words, if we're just looking at what's available in the game itself, the only way to really properly know how to do the build system is to just have everything. To have done everything. Do all the events, get all the lockbox things, every time a new ship comes out, buy it. You know those 3 new ships they just announced today? Buy those ships. You know, stuff like that, right? That's not a really great system of staying on top of things. And there really is no good way of keeping track of that in-game. Now, there are things like... Here, I'll actually show this off. So, where's the ship? Some of this stuff is in-game. Like, I'll look up the Lexington. So it actually says all the stuff here. All the stats are there. It tells you what the ability it comes with. It tells you what specials it comes with. It comes with the hangar. It tells you the console. Blah, 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 blah. But this is not exactly a parsable format of information. So, that's not really feasible. This is Devil May Cry. So that doesn't really help, is the overall point. Ironically, I think I have only like 3 low-buy right now, Justin. Now... you don't. That's correct.
Target it before it can escape.
Yeah, there's also several other bits of information about just how the game works and functions, which isn't really explained upon. So yeah, what I'm feeling here is I think if the game properly told you how its mechanisms and systems work, and told you what was available, it wouldn't be a negative. My opinion. Because there is a hell of a rabbit hole, but there are games that give you that information in the game. Cough, cough, Diablo 3. In Diablo 3, you have access to everything you need to know to make your own build. In the game.
With these assets destroyed, House Tor will be unable to resupply their forces. Their ability to fight will be greatly limited. Now, Tor must be brought before the Council, so that we may reveal the depths of his house's treachery.
Why? But anyways, you get my point, right? D3 similarly has ludicrous amounts of complexity to its builds, but all that info is in the game. It's all in mouse overs. There's actually a literal thing that shows you all the different legendaries you can get, and the sets, and all that stuff is just stuff you can find without ever having to open a website, or to go hit a Reddit thread, or to ask a friend. And that's a big distinction to me. So I do think, personally, that I agree with the negative. It's actually probably more than one negative, but it's more about the lack of information, and how the game literally doesn't explain certain aspects. So it's actually a lack of info and a tutorialization thing. A Klingon farmer, when they die, they go to Farm Thor, which is different from Stovacor and Grethor. It's really cool place. You ever play Stardew Valley? It's just like that. I've never played Star Trek Conquest. In fact, I don't think I've even heard of that one. So I shall confess my ignorance on that one. Now let's go ahead and write down those negatives, because I do agree with those 2 negatives. Gameplay. Mike Romano says, "You're dumb, Lord! I hate you!" And I appreciate your honesty, Mike Romano. It's always nice to hear people being honest. See, I don't agree with that, Mike Romano. I know that sounds terrible, but I don't. I know what you're going for, because I'm pretty sure that's what DJT was originally going for. But I don't actually think that having too many options to do too many things is a bad thing. I think if you have them properly labeled, properly organized, properly sortable, properly parsable, then that's fine. being completely overwhelmed with options isn't a negative in my book, as long as it's done properly. You want to know a game where I feel that's a bad thing? Morrowind. My opinion. I'd play the hell out of that, Mr. There's so many Star Trek games we don't have genres of. That would be an awesome one. Anyway, so... And we're loading. Of course we're loading. What is today? Today's Thursday. I do get your point, Mike Kamano, and I believe DJT as well. I just don't agree with it. For me, if you're put into a candy shop...
At last, the stronghold of House Torg. This will be over soon. Torg is here, trapped like a Hadibach. That will make him dangerous, but not invincible. Coward that he is, Torg will put all of his warriors in our path, including his son, Segen. Perhaps we will have vengeance from Maven sooner than we expected.
Do not let your anger blind you, or your father may lead another Skavor soon. I didn't time that music cue, by the way. It just happened that way. Anyways, candy shop. Let's say you walk into a candy shop. This type of candy's here. This type of candy's here. This type of candy's here. This candy tastes like this. This candy has this kind of things. And it's all properly sorted, organized, and you can just look up and see the aisles and see the colors. Like, it's literally color-coded, right? Properly sorted.
Quarters are up ahead.
Properly organized. I'm going to talk over you because screw you, buddy. Properly sorted, properly organized, etc. There you go. Which one do you want? I have no idea what candy you want. Pick one. You get my point?
Even the killing of Maven.
Of course you don't, because I'm explaining it terribly, because I have no idea what I'm talking about.
Demands it.
Yeah, phasered orange. There you go. Disruptors are apple and plasma damage is pears.
Martok assassins! Here? Madness!
That's a Klingon, really? Anyways, so there's tons and tons and tons and tons of candy. Pick one. You know what I mean? I hate to say that so harshly, but that's actually exactly what I mean. If everything's properly sorted, you could either say, well, I like such and such, and lean in a direction, or if you don't know what you like, you can just pick something. It's alright, I'm gonna grab that, right there. See how I like it. Okay, I didn't like this. So let's try something opposite. Let's go somewhere else. Neither for me, Sluggeretta. So let's go over there instead. Let's try this. This worked a little bit better. What else we've got in this section? What might work well with this? Etc, etc, etc. And that's my overall point. Now, what STO does is there's, you know those ball pits at McDonald's? You just go in and so it's that, but candy. You walk in to this store, and there is a giant vat of candy, completely unsorted. All of it's there, and if you know where you're looking, you can find it. But it's just this giant vat of candy. And that's why that's a negative for me.
As it has always been, my
blah, 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 blah. Now that you've had your revenge, what are we doing?
We must seek any further evidence of Torg's treason. We can use what we find when we bring him before the council.
Assuming he lives to stand trial for his crimes. Now, I should also probably admit I don't suffer from choice paralysis. That, in fact, to be completely honest, that idea is kind of alien to me. But I understand that other people do, because it's a thing I hear commonly in a lot of video games, but also in real life. How many of you go to a new restaurant, look at the menu, and then order something you know you like? No judgment, by the way.
Idiots! You told us this place was secure!
Yeah, I'm not trying to sound judgmental. It's just something I've heard commonly, right? Or maybe you sit down, you look at all the movies that you can go rent, because renting a movie is a thing. and you decide to pick up something that you've already seen. Or something very similar to something you've already seen, or a sequel to something you've already seen. Now, there are other reasons for those kind of things to exist, but choice paralysis is a real thing that has real issues with it. I'm not going to give a negative for choice paralysis because I don't agree with that, and these are subjective reviews. However, I am absolutely going to give a negative for something that has tons and tons of choice and doesn't sort it properly.
You dare to interrupt my drinking? You Martok fools must really want to die.
I mean, yeah, exactly, Free. It's one of the reasons why the recent Jurassic World movies are some of the most best-selling films of all time, which is an effect that never stops irritating me. But it's true, because it's familiar and safe, and everyone can look at it and say, ah, dinosaurs, cool. Let's do it. I missed. How did you get that, DJT? Holy crap.
Those shipping containers in the back court are not of Klingon design.
Really? How could you tell?
These are Romulan shipping. They're filled with Klingon weapons and technology. These crates are similar to those we found in the Vor system. According to the shipping manifests, they're scheduled to be transferred to a freighter with a destination somewhere within Romulan space. This evidence connects Torg directly to the information we received from the Romulan Republic captain. Torg is selling weapons and secrets to the Tal Shiar, and in exchange, they provide him with deniable assets, ships and assassins to remove his competitors.
Yeah. Now, if you're paying attention, there's actually a tiny bit of world building there. Why are the Tal Shiar doing so badly that they have to go to a flailing house from the Klingon Empire to get supplies? The answer is that the Tal Shiar are A, extremely stupid, and B, not doing so hot. And so they're a little bit more desperate than they otherwise would be, which of course leads to the other problems that we'll get into later, because desperate, stupid people tend to do very stupid things. I mean, it's a good damn song, I agree, DDT. I just didn't think you knew Kingdom Hearts 3. At least I think it's 3. That is 3, I'm right. Yay.
You fight well, but you will go no further, assassins!
Okay, hang on, let's get some music going here. Oh, the Tal Shiar are definitely stupider than Tor.
Locked in his audience chamber. We must get those doors open!
Like, we haven't even begun to scratch the surface of how stupid the Tal Shiar are. They're so stupid, it's honestly probably going to be a story negative for how stupid they are. Hello? You're gonna... Okay. Yeah, all the smart Tal Shiar died years and years before this. Nice, nice throne. This you can tell Torg is very,
Far enough, you filthy piece of... Did you think that you could walk into my home, kill my son, and live to tell about it? I will personally drag you and every other misbegotten member of your house to the frozen core of Rura Penthe, where you will all die without honor!
Right, so, yeah, anyways, as I was about to say, this jackass, look at this place! Like, he's got a giant, like, pyramid thing leading up to a throne in front of a bunch of flames, and this giant, like, 30 feet tall Klingon Empire symbol in the back.
Your corruption is poison.
This dude.
You talk of honor, but have none of your own. You see power, yet trade it to our enemies for personal gain. You rule a great house, yet have no understanding of what makes our people great.
It's over, Torg. Surrender or fight if you are truly a Klingon.
Don't talk to me of our people, Alexander, son of Worf. It is because of half-breeds like you that our people have grown weak. The fact that Martok accepted you into his family is reason enough for me to destroy his house. You have no idea what the future holds for our people. If you knew what the Romulans have told me, you would beg to join us.
I'm sorry. Did you catch that? You being a half-breed, being accepted by someone is reason enough to wipe out an entire house. Give me a frickety break.
Whatever the future may bring to the Empire, you will not be a part of it, Torg. I will see to that. Perhaps, in the future, there will be peace between our houses, but...
You dare insult me with talk of peace? As you stand there with the blood of my son on your hands?
Dude, you are so stupid. It's funny, really.
There will be no peace between us, mongrel. I will not rest until every man, woman, and child of House Martok are among the honorless dead, bound for Grethor.
Now hold up. Let's pause for a second. You need to understand something really quick. One of the important aspects of Klingon society is that they take their religion very literally and seriously. What I mean by that is, if I tell you, go to hell, I don't mean that, right? Like, I don't mean I want you to go to an actual place, which is hell, and suffer there. But if a Klingon tells you, go to Grethor, they mean it. And remember, we made fun of this earlier, there are really precise and frankly stupid rules behind whether you go to Sto-vo-kor, that's heaven, or whether you go to Grethor, that's hell. So, there are ways to game the system to deliberately kill someone in a way that forces them to go to Grethor. Now, I want you to keep that in mind because it adds a really messed up layer to Klingon culture, politics, and infighting, is because they actually can do something in a way to ensure that someone goes to hell. Now, you're probably thinking, is Grethor real? Let's save that discussion for later.
Take care of these assassins, and bring me Alexander. I want to teach him a lesson.
Oh, battle music. No, Zakdat? Not particularly. We'll get there, Flagant. We'll get there. This is not a remix. This is from Kingdom Hearts 3. Specifically the Battle of Syx. I mean, I guess technically it is a remix, but you know what I mean.
Coward! He used his transporter!
He even has a dumb throne. Now, this whole thing would work a lot better if we were one of the corrupt evil people at the beginning of this story arc. But they decided not to go with Sith Warrior Light side for this.
But when we are finished, we will make sure that he has nowhere to run. There will be no safe haven in the entire Empire for Tor.
Well, yeah, obviously. I hate to interrupt this total banger, but...
We must take the evidence we've collected to Kronos and present it to the High Council. Once Chancellor Jempok knows of Torg's treason, there will be justice at last. Perhaps they will put Torg into my old cell on Rura Penthe. It is more than he deserves, but it would be poetic.
So, someone just asked, does that count as a boss fight? That's a boss fight in the same way that if I offer you a cracker, I'm giving you a meal. That is literally just a trash pack like any other trash pack with someone who doesn't actually join the fight at the end. And that's kind of the problem. The overwhelming majority of boss fights in this game aren't. They experiment with different ideas periodically, but the trick they pull overwhelmingly is one we've actually already seen. You shoot one, they cloak, it's always cloaking, then they come back later, and you shoot them some more. Basically a form of HP barriering, which it is actually possible to bypass. But you really have to do a lot of damage to push through them, because they have a brilliant HP. But, whatever. At this point, I think we've only fought one boss fight in the entire game so far. Either way. Now we must go fight... we're off of boss music. Let's go down here. Whenever this is done loading. Greetings from beautiful Risa. Mr. Red asked a question. Now that he's gone, I can answer that. Would the effort it takes to make STO as good as WoW be astronomical, within reach, or in between? To make STO as good as WoW would require making a new game. Like starting from scratch. Well, not from scratch, but effectively a full remake. Starting development on a new engine, new substructure, new core code, new core mechanics, and then essentially rebuild the missions and structure out of it. As you might imagine, that is a huge amount of work. It is just slightly less work than making a new game from actual scratch. So, possible? Yeah. Reasonable? Ask me again when I take over the world. Of all the historical cultures, what I think resembles Klingon culture? Well, the meme answer is the Vikings, but there's no such thing, so let me think of a real answer. Honestly, yeah, Samurai's a good pick, which is funny, if you think about it. Bunch of conniving, manipulative, backstabbing assholes who have the whole, fake honor thing going for them. Or against them, I suppose. I should just ask this. Back in Guild Wars 1, there was actually a command you could run that that was designed to patch everything in the game. All the zones, all the areas, all the everything, so that load screens could go by quicker when you go to unusual or unoften visited ranges. Is there such a command in STO that I'm not aware of? Because that'd be nice, and I'd totally run it. Get the game all patched up in order to be able to try and slow down, or that is to say, speed up some of these load times. This is ridiculous. To patch everything all at once, essentially. To make sure everything's up to date, everything's fully patched, all the data, all the files are all fully updated, so there's no patching, only loading. That's a good question. Let me pull up the launcher. I may have to exit the game for this. Okay, apparently I can't set the launcher up unless I, exit the game, so I'll check that out. I'll see about that. Was there ever a time where the Klingon Empire was truly unified? The only period of time where that might have been true was before Enterprise. And even that's debatable. Remember, the Klingon Empire has been descending. This is not headcanon. This is actually in the shows. The Klingon Empire has been on the downswing since before the humans ever encountered the Klingons. Again, with Enterprise. The Klingon Empire was on its way out during that period of time. The fact that it has lurched forwards is because of... Well, okay, it's because of the fact they don't want to get rid of Klingons. But the in-universe reason is because there are enough people trying to keep the rotting husk going forwards that it keeps kind of lurching forward based effectively on momentum. They've been in a warring states period for a lot of their history. They will be during this game, too. I mean, they are now. Right now. We're literally going through a story arc of two houses trying to kill each other. Etsry was always right. That's why I love that line so damn much. Yeah, this is the old Republic right here. It still functions because of inertia, and because of tradition, and because of enough people trying. But holy crap. Okay, this is ridiculous. I keep thinking, I'll just go ahead and exit it and try to fix that, but this is ridiculous. It's taking forever. So, you want to hear a semi-big spoiler for the Trek rewrite? Right here in the middle of a STO review. In the Trek rewrite, we are actually going to have the Klingon Empire die. Don't worry, the Klingons aren't going away. But the Empire? It's going to come up in DS9 and TNG. And that's all I'm going to say about that right now. Because it's going to be a long... It's going to be a pretty big sea change. And we'll see what people think of it when we get there. You know me, I'm not ashamed to change and rewrite stuff. As long as I think it's a good story. It's always my primary priority. I want to make sure that I make the best story I can. So, yeah, I'm totally cool with doing something big, like... But we'll see. I don't know, Mike Kamano. I think I'm going to go ahead and end test. This is absolutely ludicrous. Let's just kill the game. Hang on. This is ridiculous. It's ridinculous. It's a whole new type of ridonkulous. Okay, so hang on. So there's apparently options here. Let's see if I can find these. Okay, so I need to uncheck on-demand patching. And save. Now, go patch. Go patch. Go. I have actually never had it be this bad. That's why I'm a little bit weirded out here. Now, let's relaunch the launcher. Make sure it acknowledges that. All right, and go patch. Hey, it's actually patching. Okay. Wow, that's a lot. That's... wow. Listen, Harriet, all I'm saying is that Neelix, being the God Emperor of the galaxy, would be brave and bold, but it would also be very stupid. Remember, my primary priority is make a good story. By the way, Harriet, have I asked you about putting $5 towards something yet? That is the Hyperion, one of my favorite ships in all of fiction. I love that thing. I actually have a model of it right... here. You can barely see, but it is there. Love that thing. Okay. Okay. Back in. From StarCraft, by the way. StarCraft doesn't have many ships, but God, they have beautiful ships. I mean, we already made the change that Nausicaan actually is a term. A job, if you will, as opposed to a species. Normal login, please.
At last, the stronghold of House Torg. This will be over soon. Torg is here, trapped like a Hadibach. That will make him dangerous, but not invincible. He has escaped for now. But when we are finished, we will make sure that he has nowhere to run. There will be no safe haven in the entire Empire for Torg.
What do you propose?
We must take the evidence we've collected
Let's do it, then.
from Kronos and present it to the High Council.
Wait, where are you guys going? Come back!
Torg's treason. Incoming hail. It is my father.
The remainder of our fleet has assembled in the system. The House of Torg has called in Romulan reinforcements, but if we stick to our offensive strategy, we will prevail. Form up behind the IKS Taj, and we will teach these fools how to fight ship to ship.
Seriously? Our strategy is kill them before they are dead, or kill them before they kill us. That's... whatever. Whatever. Moving on. We didn't lose progress. Woo! I keep hitting buttons that don't do anything on this character. Kill them before they kill themselves. Oh, God. That would be just the worst. They keep inventing new ways for new species and new organizations to be really frustrating to fight. Imagine a species that just does nothing but ramming tactics. Oh yeah, no, the Romulan Star Empire died, like a decade and a half before this game even started. But we'll talk more about the Romulans later. It makes a degree of sense, if I might be so bold, that a flailing house and a fallen empire would unite together and kind of try to back each other up. It's an old concept that is really prevalent in feudal societies. AKA, if you are relatively low on the totem pole, you have less to lose. That's really the mentality. It's why so many princelings and would-be usurpers would try to say, hey, I'm going to get a rebellion going, and try to defeat a king, or a prince, or a lord, or a count, or whatever. Because what do they got to lose? They have everything to gain if they succeed. They become the new king, or count, or lord, or whatever. If they fail, well, they already had nothing, right? Now, that doesn't apply linearly, but that is overall the mentality here. What is that ship right there? Ah, it's one of those ones. I'm a simple person, Flag Hand. Just call me Beck.
Reading a few ships on attack vectors, all with House Torg registries. Someone doesn't want us to present our evidence to the High Council. It does not matter. I did not come this far to fall in battle to the lackeys of Torg.
Well, let's friggin' kill him. I love how they're... So, for once, the ship distribution here actually makes sense, the encounter design. We're actually fighting Katingas and Burrells, which, if you know anything about, Star Trek, you know, those are old, out-of-date, terrible ships. That makes sense. Problem. We're in a Burrell. Should probably at least be in a Cavort or something. Yep, nope, it does actually say Burrell, I'm right. Look, Katingas are pretty ships, but they're old. It'd be like someone flying around in a Constitution, honestly, at this point in time. Which is funny when we get to the Fed stuff.
My father has contacted Chancellor Jempok and explained the situation. He is waiting for us in the Great Hall. The Chancellor and the High Command are waiting for us as well. There, my father will formally accuse Torg of treason. Father tells me that Torg will be present as well. That should make things interesting.
Welcome to... Now, there is a kind of a flip side to the whole Casus Belli system, the fake honor. You have to have a excuse to kill a superior thing. Because the thing is, Jempok, who, I remind you, only took power because of that system, has to honor it. If he doesn't honor it, then he has invalidated his own claim to power. So if we bring evidence against Torg, he has to honor that, or else he is killing his own power base. It's basically gaming the system against someone gaming the system, so not exactly ideal, but it's something. It's like Mag. who is pure evil, of course. Thank you, Mag, for your purely evil bits. And if you want to put those towards something in particular, please let me know.
It is time. We must confront Torg. Tell me when you are ready.
That's because that arc is terribly written, and the worst arc in the entire game, Mike Romano. There's a reason I keep calling it that. Who'll present the evidence, Worf?
It is my duty to represent the House of Martok in this matter. The evidence that you and Kemtar have gathered, and I may call upon you to present your findings as testimony. However, you are not to speak unless asked by myself or a member of the High Council.
Wow, that sounds like a really dumb rule, but you are Klingon, after all.
It is time. We must confront Torg. Tell me when you are ready.
We'll get there, Zactaf. Don't worry, don't worry. Any names I recognize here? It's Clack. No, don't recognize anybody here. I bet I know which mission it is already.
Worf and Kemtar. An interesting band of warriors, to be sure. The time has come. We are ready to hear your claim. Are you prepared to show evidence to support it? Worf, son of Moog, you have called this council on a very serious matter. Speak.
The House of Martok will show evidence that Torg, son of Cormog, has committed acts of treason.
I will not stand by and let the House of Martok spread more lies and deceit to this council.
This brave warrior, together with my son Alexander, uncovered a plot by the House of Torg to transfer weapons and classified technology to our enemies in the Romulan Star Empire. We have presented to the Chancellor's aides physical evidence and computer logs that will trace stolen weapons from the exchange through the House of Torg to agents within the Tal Shiar.
This dishonorable Martok would say anything to hide the weakness and decay in his own house.
The evidence is clear, Torg. It is the finding of this council that you have lost all sight of honor and are guilty of treason. The accusation stands. The judgment is discommendation. From this point forward, the House of Torg will be no more.
You have killed my son! You have stripped my house of honor! I will burn in the fires of Traitor! But not before I kill you!
Father, look out!
Ah!
Alexander!
We will control the Empire! Kill these fools!
So, desperate people, yada yada yada. But far more to the point, you notice how many people were willing to side with them on that? It's not a huge number of people, but it is a couple.
Bring me out of here! Now!
It seems I am not the warrior I should have been, Father.
You were warrior enough to save me.
Twice.
All that matters now is that you are my son.
And for that, I am proud.
Save your strength, son. Help is coming.
They Today is a good day to die.
It will be a good death. You are a warrior.
Yeah, I feel like this is positive and negative territory, personally.
This tragedy will not be forgotten. I want to thank you for rescuing my son from Rura Penthe and allowing him to die with honor. You have done much for the House of Martok, but we have also lost much.
We will see Alexander again in Stovacor.
Perhaps. But the pain will remain. Alexander never realized that he truly was Kimtar, both then and now. We must remember to stay true to our beliefs. Only then can we live and die with honor. Until we meet again, warrior.
Yeah, what's the name of the necro species? I can't think of their names right now.
We will make sure the House of Torg is properly punished for their cowardly actions. Torg has been on the council for many years, and I thought I knew his heart. I was wrong. I had no part in or knowledge of his acts against the House of Martok. For that, he will pay dearly.
Let's rewrite that to what he's actually saying. I had no idea this incredibly corrupt, evil person was one of my right-hand men within the council that I run. I, of course, had no part in or knowledge of the acts against House of Martok. I had nothing to do with any of this. I am, of course, an honorable Klingon.
Congratulations, Lieutenant Commander.
Oh, and now I can get a new ship.
Congratulations! You have proven yourself to be a strong warrior and invaluable to the Klingon Empire.
Yeah, I'm innocent.
I bring news from the war and an opportunity for honor.
Everything we do is for the Empire.
Yeah, shut up. All right, so, like, I believe you, right? I totally believe you. All right, so let us. Oh God, where are we? We need to be over here, I think. Trying to find my way around the first city. This place sucks. Please beam me up to the shipyards. Because why would you put it on the thing? That's ridiculous. There's another reason why this is so, like, dumb. No. I would be cutting off in 20 minutes anyways, Mike Kamano. What I am instead going to show off is... So you're a new player, you've never played the game before, you don't have a Jem'Hadar Dreadnought waiting in the wings. How do you get new ships? So every 10 levels, you get a new ship straight up for free, and it's kind of a direct upgrade from your previous one. In our case, the Klingons specifically gain a choice of I believe it's a... Yep, nope. So a better bird, that's the raider, I believe. A better raptor, that's the escort. And an actual battle cruiser. Now, at low level, what you want to do is up to you. All three of these are feasible and viable because any ship is feasible and viable. But remember what I mentioned. You want to look at what you got. What are its weapon slots? What are its bridge stations? What are its console slots? And you kind of look to that and kind of figure out, okay, where does what go where and why and how. And of course, you want to look at the ship and see, does this look cool? Do I want to look like this or do I want to look like this? So that's kind of up to you. We're going to go ahead and take the bird, because of course we are. So let's go ahead and grab that. We will rename this ship to the first person to say something in the chat. Go. Okay, the first person who isn't DJ T. Call this the Justin T. The IKS Justin T. Now we got to switch over here. That's customized. Where's areas? Manage. So we want to go ahead and switch over here. Now they added a bit of this manager thing, and the fact that you can just swap weapons between them is actually kind of a newish thing. Like this menu, I've already shown off this menu and how awesome it is, so that's a nice little touch. Hello. Jesus, okay, hang on. Let's ready this. There you go. Decline. Thank you. What else we got here? Get some disruptor cannons going. We have a slightly better deflector. We have no devices. And, do we have a better turret? We do not. That sucks. We have at least a couple more things going for us. Whoops. None of those are the buttons I'm looking for. Alright, so I may have mentioned this already. Most birds, specifically birds, have nothing but universal traits. So we can do whatever the hell we want to here. In this case, I'm going to go ahead and grab him for that one. And then we'll go ahead and get tactical for there. Have horrifyingly terrible music going. And there we go. We're good. So, let's beam up to our ship that we just got. Maybe something slightly less evil. Let's go with, here's our new ship. Here's Harriant, giving money to Ribbon. I don't know why he's giving money to Ribbon. I think he's purely insane, personally. But, he is still awesome. Thank you very, very much, Harriant. Always appreciate. Thank you. And I'll put that towards Ribbon, as you say. You'll see, Flygant. Mwahaha, as they say. Double checking a couple things. Yep, nope, we're good on that. I do need to... I want this over here. I want this over here. We'll put that there. Make sure let's do this. There, perfect. Okay, there. There's a bridge. We've actually seen this before. This is what it looks like. It's actually less dark. I'm wondering if our previous captain just kept it darker than normal to show how evil he is, because this is reasonably well lit. I can actually tell what's going on around here. There's probably a rest of the ship. I don't know. There's a whole lot of stuff here for all the duty officer stuff. There's the library files. Here's the extremely huge table. Just gonna ignore that. I mean, at this point, that wouldn't even surprise me, Warpcore. There's the account bank, which I didn't even know we had access to here. As I say, I shouldn't have anything in that right now because I emptied it recently. Engineering. The most engineering place on the ship. As you can see, people beaming in all over the place. Oh, I love this game. And you can do some random ship stuff here, but, you know, I have no idea why you'd want to, but you can. Yeah, isn't it great? This wonderful... What's funny is this is actually much larger than it should be. We actually already talked about that. But remember, birds are dinky little things. Like, in lore, birds, at least Burrells, are really small ships. Captain Worf of the IKS Worf. Yeah, I don't know. I like it, Space Cadet. That's canon now. Okay. I think that's most of what I wanted to show off. We have done a decent amount. We're actually going to continue doing Klingon stuff tomorrow. Double check here, but I'm pretty sure... Yep, we're down on Vigilance, and then the Fakir. So 6 more episodes. Excuse me. On the Klingon. And yeah, it's an early night because it's a Thursday. We would probably be able to finish the Klingon if not for the fact that it's a Thursday. But we will continue to exist. Tomorrow, we will finish up the Klingon stuff, and then we will switch over to making a new Federation character. I've actually not done the revamped Federation intro, so that'll actually be the first time for me. One of the only bits of content in this entire game I haven't seen before. Before I chop off, yeah, sure, Warp Core. What am I? Ah, whatever. We'll figure it out. Just kind of. So you see this? This is a. That's a scimitar. And that tiny speck is me and my bird. Scimitars are pretty big. I hope y'all have been enjoying. I've been enjoying. It's been great discussing, analyzing, reviewing. I'm going to have to do some type-ups on the document and then update the HUD. Excuse me, the HUD. Oh yeah, the scimitar in lore was like it was so strong it was overpowered. But even in gameplay, it was actually... Oh, hey, it's a Moog. Check it out, there's the Moog. I love the Moog. It's a cool ship. Hang on. Even in gameplay, the scimitar was a very good ship. It was the top-of-the-line ship for quite a while, which had the unfortunate distinction of meaning a whole lot of people had one. This is one of my favorite, probably my first or second favorite Klingon ship in terms of sheer appearance. I can't get a better shot with the lighting, but that's a Moog right there. Love that thing. Anyways, I'm going to go ahead and chop off. I do hope you've enjoyed. I'll either see you in about half an hour for D&D, or I'll see you tomorrow for this.